What's up? What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check this out. We're gonna start this joint. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's all support to actually stop people like this. Watch this, man. I'm gonna let you know how Uncle Mike bro. Watch this. Oh, wrong button.
Thank you, brother. Oh, super chat. The Music Recording Network says, keep doing your thing, bro. We are behind you 100%. We do a lot of your videos to help spread the word. I want to help you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I noticed that there's more people who are covering Umar, which is good. And there's also people who are like replaying my videos and all that stuff. I do appreciate that. The more and more people learn about Umar, it may take some time, but it'll be the better. It'll be for the betterment. Again, it's not just what Umar is doing with this school scam, right? It's also what Umar is doing to these black women. It's also the damage that Umar has caused in terms of the trust in the black community. Because if you have someone like Umar who has this stage, he has a platform. I mean, again, 1.1 million followers on Instagram alone. He gets on the Breakfast Club, 3, 4, 5 million views, etc. You have someone on that's on that level as a social media influencer doing this to black people, betraying black people, betraying the trust of black people, devolving the trust that black people have in other black people. Well, then what happens when the next person comes around who's serious about opening up a school or has a project that's worthy of being supported financially?
Yes.
There are going to be people going to say, no, I'm not going to do that, because remember what Umar did? See? What if it's someone who wants to write a book or they want to do a documentary, right? Or they're having, let's say, they're trying to open up a business, right? That would be of service to the black community. But because of Umar's betrayal, there are going to be more people going to be side-eyeing it because of Umar. See? That's another issue that I have with this guy. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Joser or Joser Falcon says, start a GoFundMe to buy the building from the city I auction. Listen, if it was presented to me as an option to purchase those trap bandos and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Preeminently because in 2019, the EPA issued a report, the Environmental Protection Agency, and they classified these buildings as brownfield catalyst sites. And Umar hasn't remedied that issue.
Yeah. I just wanted to start off with that part, man. You all got to realize that businessmen, real businessmen know how to stay in their lane. Number one, think about it. These buildings, they're about to auction these buildings off, and somebody gonna get these buildings at a steal price, right? Somebody gonna get these Dr. Umar buildings at a steal price. What little bit of work he done put into the buildings all go to waste, and it goes to whoever buys these buildings at the auction. But you got to know what you buying. Just because the buildings is sitting on property that is not fit for people to be, not alone kids to be on, right? So if you don't know nothing about that, you shouldn't be trying to get these buildings because they cheap. Stay in your lane. That's what this is all about. Staying in your lane and everything. So I'm not gonna go all the way from the beginning. I'm hoping that I'm gonna start somewhere where I've been listening to, where I dropped the super chat, because there's some things that I want to make sure we cover as far as the Dr. Umar. And when I get back to the United States, I want to actually invite some people on. I'm gonna turn the live stream on because of this, man. And I hope to get Leonard on there or some of his people just to come and say they 2 cents on this Dr. Umar thing. And I would love for people to who have donated, or somebody who still 100% support him, to come and speak, because I'm the type of person, I like to get to the bottom of things, man. I'm not jumping on nobody's side, but it sure is funny. The video he just put out. He just put out a video, y'all, And I'm not that good on Instagram. I'm a YouTuber, man. You stick to one thing, Uncle Mike. I barely know how to do YouTube. So I'm a YouTuber. I don't even like Instagram. So Dr. Umar likes to put his stuff out on Instagram. So I saw the live feed on Instagram that this Leonard is actually doing. So I said, okay, I can get the original because this how my people this how people tell us you need to do your own video. You can get so I tried to go get the original video and do my 2 cents on it and skip his version. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Umar took the video down. It took me an hour of looking for the video, trying to calling them. Why I can't find the video? I don't know how to do Instagram, right? I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong. I didn't know he don't reason why I can't find it because he took the thing down. Like, man, I don't wasted all this time. If I could have been doing what Uncle Mike know how to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's okay to shift over every now and then you got to try to keep building yourself up or whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna start right here, man. Love your platform. Do you think Umar started off with good intentions, then became overwhelmed? I think so. Or has he been a scammer all his life? Well, I think he's been scamming, hustling in the streets, trying to make ends meet. It probably, I really think that he had good intentions on opening this school. This is what I think happened. I think that he thought that he would be able to raise these larger sums of money and keep talking about the school and be able to live off the donations while he built the school. He thought the donations was going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think he took too long to actually purchase buildings. I think he took too long to purchase buildings. If he would have took his school dream and started smaller with some trailers on some land, and then take the church land and taking these trailers, showing that he's moving the trailers to this land, that after he got it all fixed up and stuff, showing some people that's no real estate that's on his team now. I always wanted a opportunity to show I can do real estate. So Dr. Umar gave me this opportunity, and let them do their real estate thing. Let people do the electricity thing. Let the people do car thing. Give the spotlight to other people to shine, and not all about Umar. Umar's the only one on video all the time. That ain't good. Martin Luther King had a school of people around him. Malcolm X had a school of people around him. Does that make sense? Sometimes you just only see one person. Every time I look, I see one person. That ain't good, people. And I'm preaching this to my people because I started noticing my mentors, my people that I call mentors, and I listen, and I'm an expert on, even though my nose is stopped up, I'm an expert. I am a freaking expert of seeking out good people and bad people. I am an expert. I am a very good expert on seeking out good people that want to do good things for him, God, and bad people. Once I figure out that you bad, and I give you 3 or 4 strikes, and then I tear into you like nobody's business, and I don't hold back. Dr. Umar, you got some explaining to do, bruh. The one video that we thought that you was going to have the opportunity to explain, you done took down. He done took the video down, man. So with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into this video, man. Shout out to Leonard. Shout out to you, bro, because you are He said he wasn't going to go live. He went live again. Another 4 hours. He said he wasn't going to do this. He going back again. Anytime he finds something and he's breaking records, he done pushed this lady. I can't even remember the ladies I wanted to push, but we did it anyway because I told my people to subscribe to the lady's channel because she get ready to do a movie or a documentary or whatever the case may be. All you got to do is just try to help people. All you have to do in your life is just help somebody, man. It feels so good. Stop tearing each other down and help somebody. Here we go, man. Here we go.
Was real about it, and if he was a real one and he had good intentions and he was serious about it because he's had more than enough money, he would at least have something started by now. There's no excuses. There's no excuse for that.
A trailer.
Right, thank you for the super chat.
A trailer.
Easy W says some more. And
wait a minute. Let's start. Wait a minute, because he had a lot to say about this. Let's see. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
School, what I think that's not. Here you go. When you use this respecting good intention for girls.
Shit. My bad, y'all. The internet went out in the Philippines.
A couple 100,000.
There we go. He's still. All right.
But how much money has Umar put in?
All right. One more time. Wait a minute. I'm trying to get to this one. God dang.
To 2020.
I'm trying to see when is her daggone. God dang it. Damn.
I've heard Umar.
Are you serious? Leonard, you spoke too much on this pretty girl. That's her face. Okay, there we go. All right, right here. We're gonna
be
right
part
here.
of that. You see how diabolical this guy is? And so they would donate and donate and donate, and then Umar, he leaves. And then the next speaking engagements, let's say it's in New York City.
Here we go.
And so he tells people, look, I'm looking for a building in New York City. Same thing. People are more inclined to come out. Same thing. People are more inclined to come out. People are more inclined to donate for the same reasons. And then Umar leaves there. And then he goes to Los Angeles. He said, I'm looking for a school inside Los Angeles, which he did. I got the video. It's in the documentary, the new documentary. I'm looking for a building here inside in LA. If you guys have any places, send me blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And then he runs the same scam. That's why he has different school scams. It's not just St. Paul's. It's not just Wilmington, Delaware. Each one of these incidents, and there's dozens of them. These are all school scams. And then most recently, he's in Newark, New Jersey. And he says the same shit that he was saying before he had acquired these trap bandos. In fact, even after he acquired these trap bandos, he did a video in Detroit and he was lying his ass off trying to get money. I should pull that up. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Because that's one of the most ridiculous videos that Umar ever did. He regurgitates this over and over again. And here we are now where he owes this money, $38,288.22. He's telling people in New Jersey, it's 22 cents. He's telling people in New Jersey that somehow he's looking for a school out there.
Hit the one.
See, he's just setting this shit up again because that's what he does. He's a con man.
Hit the one.
That Detroit video was crazy. Thanks, Sean, for the super chat. I appreciate it.
All right, here we go.
Building Blocks became a member. Thank you so much. Like the afro. Wish I could grow an afro in, but it ain't gonna happen. Anyway, enjoy. I'm just playing. House of Cozy says, if something happens to his mom, could he be charged? Right. Yes, as a primary caretaker. It depends on what it is. I don't want to go too deep into this, because I just think it's a little. But his mother's care, I think how she's been cared for, and if he's the primary caretaker, yeah, he could. If it's over the top. If there's any levels of abuse or neglect, yeah, as a primary caretaker, the charges could be pressed on Umar. Okay? I'm just gonna leave it right there because I won't say anything else. Okay, thank you for super chat. Marcus, and that's just out of respect for the mother. That's why Marcus says, tell Umar I said zippity dippity. He knows what that means. All right. Zippity dippity. All right. Zippity dippity doo dog. All right. I'll tell him. He watching right now, so he's seeing that right now. He just blocked you. All right. Thanks, Marcus, for the super chat. Speak the Truth always became a member. Thank you so much. I like the fantastic avatar there too, by the way. Thank you for becoming a member.
Here we go. Here we go.
T. Schofield T.
Beautiful.
I apologize. Love it. T. I apologize. Love your platform. Do you think Umar started off with good intentions, then became overwhelmed, or has he been a scammer all along? Okay. what my research shows is that Umar never had an intention on opening up a school. I don't think he ever had good intentions because he's been rotten from the start. Okay, you can go back to 2005 when he was in UNIA. He was running the same type of scam. It's just it was for a renovation project with the UNIA. Sounds familiar? See, what Umar has done over the decades, 2 decades now, is he's proven time and time again that he's never been serious. See, I said this yesterday. If you're serious about doing something, then you're going to need to be educated in order to accomplish that. And if you're not educated in order to accomplish that, you're not serious about opening up a school or whatever endeavor you're involved in. Furthermore, you're going to have professionals around to help you with that process. And there's been so many people that have reached out to Umar, professionals, to provide him with help. He doesn't want actual tangible help. What he wants is money. That's how I know that he's never been serious about opening up a school. It wasn't about opening up a school. It was about the idea of opening up a school to get money out of people. See, it's always been about money with Umar, and that's very clear. Even if we look at videos like I showed earlier, where he's calling black people trifling ass black people because he felt like they didn't send him enough money. Well, ain't this about a school, or is it about money? Which one is it? And he's been living off of this money. See, how many times have we heard Umar tell people to get on the CashApp, get on the PayPal, GoFundMe? See, now he's talking about, Apple Pay and all this other stuff. You don't hear him talk about, okay, I'm working with this professional today to get this done. You don't hear him saying that. Why not? Because he's not serious. He never was serious. See? He didn't want, and furthermore, he didn't want professional help because if he accepts professional help, then there's going to be accountability and transparency. Because you ain't going to be working with someone who's just shady and ain't telling you nothing, right? He was never serious. Let me give you one more example. When Umar started raising money for the St. Paul's College, he already had an out. I have the video, and he says it explicitly. Keep donating, because if we can't get St. Paul's, we're going to keep collecting money until, I'm paraphrasing, we're going to keep collecting money until we find a school. Okay, well, wait a minute. How serious are you about opening up a school? If even before just early on when he first started this, within a matter of a month, since he started raising money for St. Paul's College, he gives an update, and he's already telling people, you know what, just keep donating, because even if we don't get St. Paul's, we're just going to keep donating. And he does that from 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. For over 5 years he does this. He's not serious about opening up a school. See, by the end of 2016, Umar says that he needs another million, and what it implies is that he already had $1 million, which is consistent with what he posted on his Facebook. I have all these receipts. See? He even said in 2016 that by the end of the summer of 2016, he would be at $1 million. That's what he said. I can pull up the receipt and play it for you. Well, if Umar is sitting on $1 million by the end of 2016, you mean to tell me he couldn't find a building in 2017? No, he keeps collecting money, 2017, 2018, and he finally settles on these abandoned buildings in 2019. That's why I'm saying Umar was at $1 million back in at the end of 2016. Let's say 2017. He's at $1 million. And then based upon the IRS filings, when you look at the money that Umar had sitting in a non-interest bearing account, when you look at the amount of money that he allegedly purchased these abandoned buildings for, he said it's over $400,000. Well, bare minimum, you look at the tax filings, $1,677,860 from 2019 to 2024. Well, he said he was at $1 million in 2017. Okay, well, then we're talking 2.6 million. And we're not even counting 2017 or 2018. He's not serious about opening up a school. That's why I'm saying bare minimum 1.67 million. My best estimate is 2.7 million dollars. You mean to tell me that Umar couldn't, at this point, he couldn't have started something? I mean, he's tripping up right now of these buildings about to be taken away from him. He's tripping off of $38,288. Where all this money go? Well, he's been living off of this money. He hasn't worked a job since 2010, 2011. Wow. Let me give you one other example. Okay, I didn't mean to go off on this. We got over 5,000 people again. Let me give you another example. How much money has Umar donated to this FTMG school scam?
Ooh, I never even looked at it like that.
He has no skin in the game. He don't care because he's getting free money. He's not invested not one dime. He hasn't worked a job since 2010, 2011. He hasn't worked consistently. There is some evidence that he worked in 2014 for a short period of time, matter of months, but I haven't been able to verify. But I give him the benefit of the doubt. I always give him the benefit. I want to be fair. Sometimes I think I'd go overboard on that and I give him too much grace.
Amen.
But how much money has Umar put in? Listen, I haven't donated to FMG. 0. Well, guess what? Umar hasn't either. 0. You would think that someone who's the most requested scholar, a school psychologist, a therapist, a family therapist, a child therapist, all this other stuff, school psychologist, the greatest black school psychologist in the history of humankind, you would think that he would be, by now, that he had put in what? I don't know. A couple $100,000? So what I'm getting at, Schofield T, is that if Umar was serious, then he would have invested in this heavily himself.
Right.
He would have been.
His book sales, any type of income, book sales, monetize on his Instagram. I don't know. He got 1 million followers. He can preach and speak and tell. He can educate single black moms and single black dads. You can start, dude. He could have started a single black dads. It's a lot of black dads that are single that will support this man. Think about that. There's a lot of fathers out here that's single that feel like they probably don't have no support or no word. They don't have no voice out here. All you got to do is he's a great speaker. I wish Uncle Mike could speak better than what he's doing. I'd turn this thing on and be like, hey, what y'all want to talk about? Let's do this, that, and the third. I'm getting there. But the thing about it is, doing what Leonard's doing right now, dude, that's $5,000, $6,000 a month easy. Easy.
Been working a job.
Tell me I ain't lying, Leonard. Now you telling them too much now. You telling them too much. And I know it's double what I just said. I know it is. I come under the radar. I'm not trying to tell nobody's business. I'm just telling you like it is. If Uncle Mike can make it, I know you can make it.
Job and working 2 jobs.
And by the way, we got a book that we selling. We got an album that's out, and we got a book that we selling. Y'all go check the links below.
In order to generate more income to contribute to this fund, to open up a school for black boys or for black girls or for both. Because it's supposed to be a boarding school for girls and boys. Con man. He's not serious. In my opinion, he never had good intentions. You can't have good intentions when you're collecting money and you don't have a plan. You can't have good intentions when you're collecting money and you're chastising and disrespecting the people who sending you money for nothing. That's wrong. You can't have good intentions where when you use, here you go, when you use this idea of opening up a school to manipulate black women into giving you money and also for them to give up that cooch. That's not good intentions.
Whoa.
See, in my opinion, he never had any, I don't think he ever intended to open up a school. What I think is that Umar, he saw this as a hustle and he's coming out of UNIA because he was running the same hustle and he just picks it up and then he changed it into FMG and he starts collecting money. There are people online that said 2007. There's people online that they sent him money in 2008. There's people online that said 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. But Umar said he only started collecting money in 2014. He should have something by now in 2025. And if he was real about it, and if he was a real one, and he had good intentions, and he was serious about it, because he's had more than enough money, he would at least have something started by now. There's no excuses. There's no excuse for that. All right, thank you for the super chat. Easy W says some more and some more and some more. You see the sense of entitlement, how he talking to the people, and if you got a problem with that, we can handle outside. He has good intentions? No. It's about the money. And he said that on Lord Jamar show. He said, I don't care about the people. I care about the donors, where the donors represent what? The money. That's not good intentions. Okay, I go on that one. Thank you, Easy W. Michael says, no disrespect. Do you think Umar becomes irrelevant? You will too. I only know you from your Umar content. So what are your plans post Umar? I have a contingency plan. Yeah, I have a contingency plan. And if I had more time, I would have already implemented. I just haven't had the time. I've already calculated too what the drop off would be, and I'm fine with that. You know, what I do here on YouTube, I consider it to be like a part-time job. Okay, I got my day job, so I'm good, right? Again, Umar can't do this forever. He can't, and I can't do it forever either. But I'll continue to do my part to bring him to justice. In the meantime, I do have a contingency plan, and you know, there's a saying: don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, I hold my day job, and I'm good. Thank you, Michael Raj Paul. Now you see, first, Michael's very respectful when he asks this question, but you see how I don't go off and respond in a negative way. I just answer the question straight out. Okay, but I just want people to think about that. If you ask any type of question to Umar like this, anything that's like this, he's going to go off. He's going to block. He's going to get belligerent. You see, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, all right. And thank you for the super chat. D, what kind of name? D's Nut says, Leonard, will you play Somebody Shit on My Steps? Was it you? I never recorded that. And let me make a quick announcement too. And we're almost get almost ready for the video because I'm almost down to the bottom. I have to make an announcement. The person who created Snow Bunny Love, they used AI to create the song and to do the video. But I've been talking back and forth with them, and they have a newer version that they're going to be releasing. And until they get that newer version released and they get established, and I'm kind of trying to help him to get established too on social media, because AI, it's so open right now. And for him to be able to use his skill set as someone who can generate AI content, there's a serious market for that. So I'm trying to help him to kind of get established. I won't be playing the old version of Snow Bunny Love until he releases the new version and he's established online. And I've been talking to giving ideas on how to do that. It's just a respect thing, okay? And he's a good brother too, because we were talking back and forth through email. And he's a really good brother. He shared some things with me. It brought tears to my eyes. There are some really good brothers out here who are handling business, and they're really in some difficult situations. And there's people who say stuff like, you know, black men don't take care of their kids. That's not true. You know, we take care of our kids. Umar don't, but just because Umar don't mean that all of us that we don't. Okay, so anyway, shout out to that brother. I'm hoping to continue to put him, or at least help him to put him in a better position to where he can use his skill set in such a way, especially dealing with AI, because there's a lot of money to be made with that. A lot. Okay. Thanks, D's. I never recorded somebody. No, I think I did record a scratch version. At some point when I have some time, I'll be doing more music. Okay. Thank you, D's Nuts, for super chat. Let me get through. I gotta get these quick. John, the professional's brother. If you really want to get under Umar's skin, you should personally trademark Snow Bunnies, Never Black Queens Forever. Sell the t-shirts and make the money. I wouldn't do him like that. You know, I wouldn't do him like that. The thing is that well, the other thing too is I wouldn't want to have that attached to me or my brand. If you know what I'm saying, Snow Bunnies, Never Black Queens Forever, because really Umar, his rhetoric on that, really what it is, it's a form of minstrelsy. That's just shucking and jiving. And you see how people respond to it emotionally. But if you really think about it, if Umar says black queens forever, okay, where's your black queen forever? He out here sexually exploiting all these black women. He ain't been married not once. In all of my years, John, I've never heard Umar tell a story about him being in a long-standing relationship with any woman, let alone black woman. You know what I'm saying? But even still, I wouldn't feel right by doing something like that. Okay, I pride myself on integrity. Okay, that's what I'm saying. There are people who operate in certain ways, and I'm one of those people. I have everything has to be on the up and up. You know, otherwise I'll feel guilty, and the stress involved with that, and I don't like to feel that way. Okay, so I wouldn't do Umar like that. All right. Plus, who's gonna buy a T-shirt? Any y'all gonna buy a T-shirt that says "Snow Bunnies Never Black Queens Forever"? I don't know. All right, thanks, John, the professional. Thanks for the super chat. Big Dog Status says all the money went to Cool. not all of it. Okay, all of it. And even he was dealing with a sex worker over in Africa. We've covered that for members, but even still, the process that Umar goes through in order to lure these women into hotel rooms, that costs money too. Okay, because he has to pay for these hotel rooms. He has to pay for the rental cars. He has to pay for the airfare to fly them out, because he's done that too, where he'll fly them out if he's going to be speaking somewhere and they're near. That's why Umar always says, what city are you calling from? Or what city are you from? Or when you text me, tell me what city you're from. It's in the picture. Because he knows that if he, see, I mean, he's diabolical with it. He knows that if he's going to be speaking someplace, let's say he's speaking in San Diego, and there's women in Los Angeles that sent him pics and stuff, well, he can just hit one of them up and say, hey, listen, you want to come down to San Diego? I can pay for a rental car, or I can fly you down, and you can just come to the hotel. That's Umar. See? So it could be directly or indirectly. That's the point. Thank you, Big Dog Status. Gamer Incorporated said, I bet King Randall is sitting back watching this buffoonery unfold. Yeah. The thing is with King Randall, he defended Umar for a very long time. He did. Because I remember when I was criticizing Umar, he didn't say my name directly, but I knew he was talking about me and other people who were criticizing Umar. But he realizes the truth now, I'm quite sure. See, Umar hasn't produced anything. And King Randall, he's in his mid-20s. See, again, I haven't researched him all deeply, but the fact that he has something up and running, and to get started with much less money than Umar raised, okay, probably at this point, he's probably got more donations for his organization these days, because he's actually, he has proof of concept. But with Umar, he has nothing, right, to show for any of this. In fact, he may be losing these buildings. So even King Randall seeing all this stuff, yeah, it's a bunch of buffoonery, but this is Umar's fault, not anyone.
Yeah. Also, this King guy invited Dr. Umar out to the school to speak, and he paid him. Dr. Umar never showed up and never gave him back the money. Hey, the more research I do on this dude, the more, and my scale don't go up like, okay, that one thing. The guy said, well, brother, we gonna give you back half the money. Umar said something about giving them back half the money, which means he didn't give him back the money, right? That means Umar didn't give him back the money. It ain't like, it's like, dude, you're lying. I gave you back the money. That's not what the text said. He said, well, as soon as we get the flight information corrected, we will pay you back half. That's what Umar said to him. So no matter what, people, everything that people have been saying on Umar, it's not even like, it's beyond a reasonable doubt that he can't come close to saying that he has a leg to stand on. That's all.
Man, self-made. That says whatever happens to Tiffany, she's still. You talking about Tiff DeGriff? Tiff DeGriff, from what I understand, she doesn't support Umar and defend Umar like she used to. She may still, I don't know, be down with Umar.
Yeah, people are changing their minds on all this stuff, man. So I'm trying to get back to where we was at.
I get to these super chats as quickly as possible because we already run up the clock. We had an hour and a half. I want her to have to do it. Okay, thanks, Black Wolf, for super. We'll get to that. I wrote it down. Okay, we'll get to that in an upcoming live stream. This is another example of Umar, because he's doing a similar thing now, talking about how they're going to march because the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, that somehow they didn't inform him about how much money he owed, blah, 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 etc.
Isn't it crazy? Hold up, man. You are about to get people to march on your lie. Do y'all understand that? Seriously, this guy is, if you research what happens when you got these buildings, and you mean to tell me that they put this paperwork up on the building? This is what he's saying. They put this paperwork up on the building to shut down the building, and they ain't give him no warning, no email, no call. That's bull. That is straight up bull, man. It's bull. I'm trying to get my man together.
A bullshit? A bullshit?
Straight up bullshit. Straight up bull.
A bullshit.
Straight up bull, man. Nobody evicts you. Eviction notice. Even in an apartment, you've been warned. You know damn well you ain't been paying your rent for at least 2 months. You know this. And they give you a notice. Oh my God. But anyway, he trying to get everybody to go march. And these people want to march for anything. They don't know. All you need is a bunch of want to see change type people that don't even know what they marching for to go down. I'm going to go down there. This is be nosy. I know I'll be there. I'll be there with my camera so I can get some footage. but I ain't marching. I'm just filming the stuff for you guys. This is ridiculous, man. Talking about marching.
Okay, thanks, Black Wolf. TB
On
says,
the
I
line.
always envision Umar teaching prisoners. Yeah, why he's in there. He used to say that he used to go into prisons and all this stuff. One time he said something to the effect that he's been in prisons all over the world. He said most of them. I said, if you don't stop. Scott, he lies so much. It's ridiculous. Thanks, TB.
Not even all the
Daxter
prisons
says
in the
Jermaine
United
done messed
States.
up. He's a he's a conning. Yeah. And he's a conning clown. Yeah, he really has. He's messed up. But again, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and he's gonna blame everybody else. But he knew this was coming down the pike. He knew it. That's why he telegraphed that. And we're about to get back into it and get to the first video. Thanks, Daxter. Ram says he should march his SSA to the trabajo. He sure should. Go get a job with all these degrees.
Tabajo.
Like I said, Umar hasn't contributed to this FMG fund. It's free money. He's been living off of the money because he didn't have a job. See, if Umar was stable, he would have a residence, right? He don't even have his own residence. You'll say, well, how you say that he's living with his mom? He's not supposed to be living there. It's Section 8 housing. I've said it many times before. He's not on a lease because I've already looked at it. I have that documentation. I ain't gonna show it, but I have it. See? It's Section 8 housing. Umar is not supposed to be living there. He's supposed to be coming there to take care of his mother, and there's a certain amount of hours that he's supposed to do that per week or per month. But he's not a resident there, a legal resident. Okay, but he be standing there like he is, taking over the second floor. What he needs to do is go get a job and get himself situated, set up. You see, real quick, even with his daughter. So I have a video where he says, I even have family members trying to help her out, and her mama has a house. Yeah, but why didn't Umar say, well, I have a house too? Because he don't have a house. He ain't had his own place since 2019, and when he had a place, he was living in filth. See, even if, let's say, his daughter wanted to live with him, there's no place for her to stay with him because he don't have his own place. He need to go get a job, okay, basically. Thanks, Ram. Speed Racer Ray sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much. What's up, Robbie? Said Black Ark has been a real doozy for Umar. Yeah, we only halfway through. He caused all this, though, no one but him. You're absolutely right. Thank you for what you do, bro. You're so wrong. Yeah, and Umar, he's going to blame everybody else, but at the end of the day, this is Umar's fault. Umar Johnson's fault. You can defend him all you want to, but at some point, you got to hold him accountable. Right? There's no excuse for where things are at, except for Umar. He hasn't been handling business, and why would he? If he's not serious about opening a school, he's not going to handle basic business. I mean, paying bills is paying bills. When the donations come in, you pay the bills. Truth be told, it's all a waste of money anyway, because not one black child has been educated. So there's no excuse for this whatsoever. Okay? And again, he caused all this, no one but him. Thank you, Robbie. And thank you for the kind words, too, in the super chat. Thank you so much. Everyone, thanks for the super chat. Just spoke Hecate or Hecat or Hecate. Okay. You can't pray for God to intervene with one's free will. Umar doesn't want to change. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Faith without works. Umar has to be willing to change in the first place.
Amen.
The idea is you have to open up your
Amen.
heart. That's what it comes down to. But you got to humble yourself in order to do that. Umar lacks humility. See? He's ungrateful.
That's the first thing you gotta do. You gotta let go and let God, man. You gotta come to a conclusion in your life. And I'm just talking to y'all, not this Umar stuff. You all won't do this Umar shit. Y'all wouldn't do that. But this is what you gotta do, because this is what I did. You gotta let go and let God. You gotta say, God, all this stuff apparently ain't working. Everything I know, everything I've been educated on, everything I'm doing evidently ain't working, because the average person that's my age, the average person that's in my situation is doing way better than me. What do I need to change? That's the start right there. That opens up your mind and that opens up your soul to get help. You gotta get the help. Don't go. You going after all these people, and there's a lot of them. This will be tripping me out. I'll be like, damn, I used to be just like that. There's a guy on Facebook that sit there and talk to these kids, and the kids come up to the microphone, and they don't even sound like they know what they talking about. And that's Umar. How you gonna go to a professional? I don't know nothing about real estate. And I'm proud to tell people I don't know nothing about real estate. Just like Leonard, he said, this is not my expert. This is not my cup of tea. So I need you guys' help. That's the first thing.
Spirit of gratitude.
You got to
have
gratitude.
You have to be humble.
You got to be humble.
You have to come with the open heart, and you got to look at your free will. See, if you have free will, then you also have to be willing to say, okay, I have the free will to what? Change.
You got to make a change, man.
Like I said,
people don't realize that everybody got to make a change. In order for the change to better your life, you got to change something. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? If you don't like what's happening in your life, you got to make a sacrifice to make a change. I don't know why they don't get that part. And it's not Dr. Umar change is terrible. I'm talking about how I can help better you guys. I don't need to be better off, but yet your bills is lacking.
You can pray for Satan all you want to, but that don't mean that Satan's going to change. Well, that's Umar. And again, I used to think real quick. Then we got maybe 15,000 more super chats. I used to believe that Umar was going to change, and I thought, and it was really ignorance on my part. I thought that by me criticizing Umar, giving him constructive criticism, which I've done. I mean, I clown him too, but giving him constructive criticism, that he would figure it out at a certain point. He'd say, okay, wait a minute, I see what he's saying. Let me start taking these steps to get things in order. That's one thing. But then the other thing that I've done is I've gotten my own life moved and transformed in a direction that I'm proud of. Right? With y'all's help, okay, but I'm proud of. And it's taken many, many years, over half a decade of hard work, diligence, having a plan, working that plan. I went back to college, picked up a degree, all these different things. A lot I can't even talk about because it has to do with my family. I just, from a cybersecurity perspective, I had to pull back on that. If I could do it all again, I wouldn't have talked anything about my family going back to when I first got on YouTube. I shouldn't have done it, right? Based upon what I know now, okay, dealing with cybersecurity. The point being is that it took a lot of work and I had to humble myself. See, and I thought Umar, by him seeing that he would say, hey, wait a minute, this guy's done, he got 5 kids and a wife. Maybe I can do it too. But Umar, listen, he's hard-headed. He don't listen.
I'm just praying that this is helping somebody.
See, it's one thing to fail. Last point. It's one thing to fail, and then keep failing. It's another thing to fail and then learn the lesson so that you can succeed. But you got to make changes in order to succeed. But Umar, he don't even learn the lesson in the first place. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Brother Winston says, us in Philly knew he was a scammer. Thank you for your work. Yeah, I've acknowledged this. This is to say that there are a lot of people in Philly, they knew that Umar was a scammer way before I knew that he was a scammer. There's people in Philly that knew a whole lot more information, especially early on when I first started covering Umar, than I knew. Okay. In fact, there's a primary source that I have from Philadelphia that has had interaction with Umar early on when Umar, I mean, he's a mess.
You are?
So this is to say that there's a lot of people in Philadelphia, they knew Umar, he was rotten.
Take this outside?
Way before he comes into, like, I guess you can say his stardom as a social media influencer. Influencer, way before he gets on the Breakfast Club.
Okay, go ahead.
Way before he starts calling himself Big Papa and the Prince of Pan-Africanism and the most requested scholar. They knew about Umar way back then because his reputation precedes him. He's been doing dirt up in Philadelphia. That real quick, that's why you don't really see Umar in Philly doing stuff. You would think that he would be, right? He's standing in Mama Claus when he can. Why ain't he have events in Philly? We don't see that, inconsistent events. We don't see that. Why? Because Philly don't mess with him. That's why most people who watch these videos that I do on Umar, where are they from? They from Philadelphia. John Coltrane was from Philadelphia too, by the way. People I looked up to, jazz musicians. There's a lot of great musicians come to Philly. Right?
Water.
Thanks, Brother Winston, for the super chat. Host on the Cook says, I was moved by all those taken advantage of through FDMG and created funding to help some people with donation refunds. Also, yeah, what I think should happen is that the people who donated to Umar, they should start, especially see at this point. See here, this is the thing about Umar. He's he's used so many different money transfer platforms to get money out of people, and so many of those money transfer platforms have banned him because of fraud, that it's difficult for people to go through the process of getting money back because he's banned off those platforms at this point. See, let me give you a quick example. GoFundMe. He collected over $400,000 on GoFundMe, and they were issuing refund checks. That's why Umar, he scrambled to get these trap banners in Wilmington, Delaware. That's why he did it. And it justifies, no, I did get a building. Okay, well, I get it. We're not going to.
$400,000 on GoFundMe?
Continue to process these refunds, and then he ultimately, that account got canceled anyway. But in terms of the processing of refunds. Another one is his initial PayPal. Remember, he said his PayPal got shut down. At a certain point, he said it got frozen. There was a time when he said it got shut down too. But see, he set up at least 2 different PayPal accounts. So it's harder for people to, and one of them is obsolete now. So it's harder for people to get their money back. Okay, what else? What about CashApp? I would propose that he got the most amount of money through CashApp, because he had the CashApp for more years than he had to GoFundMe, and for more years than he had the initial PayPal account. But that account has been shut down because of fraud. Does that mean that people can't contact CashApp to try to get their? Yeah, they could, but it's more difficult if there's no account and there's no money in that account. See, that's when you would get into a legal situation where a suit could be filed, and then all of the donations and the different money transfer services that Umar used, digital ones in particular, that all of that would be subpoenaed, and then they can find out how much money Umar has really collected. And see, here's the thing, even if they found out all that information and they filed suit, Umar ain't got no money.
Umar ain't got no money.
How's he going to pay for restitution?
Umar ain't got no money.
It's a very complicated situation. Mm-hmm. But what needs to happen is for enough of these victims of Umar with this school scam, if they got together to figure out a way legally to go after this guy. Not that they would get their money back per se, because he ain't got the money, but at the very least they can set a precedence and put Umar in his place as a con man. Thanks, host of the Cooks. Well, super chat. User 225 says Umar Johnson won't come clean on anything. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. Smitty Boy says 84.2 subscribers, Uncle Leonard. You almost at 100K. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, because I remember when we got up to 70, and I remember we got up to 75, and it was very recent. But my numbers have skyrocketed recently in the subscribers.
Yeah, he talking about doing a party and all that type of stuff after they hit certain numbers and stuff. I'm trying to hurry up and get to the Bumpy Limp Johnson praise. Okay. Let's see what he says.
Panhandling is riding till the wheels fall off. Yeah, the thing is, I don't think he sees any other options. He has other options. He does. He would have to come clean and do right. But because he's criminal minded, he's really locked into this. This to say that I don't think Umar sees any other options. And he's been living off of this money for over a decade. And he's just used to that. I mean, you do anything for that long of a period of time and you're lazy and you don't have any skin in the game. You don't really care about black kids. You ain't working with no black kids. I'm talking about seriously working with no black kids. So, what's the point? Well, the point is the money. And that's what it all comes down. If he can get as much money, if he can get pennies, he even said that if he can get pennies out of people, he's going to get pennies out of people, right? Until the wheels fall off. Thanks, Jonathan Kidd. 78 Vet says, he sent his Goonies after you and you stood your ground. I remember, and I have, I think you're saying the utmost respect for you, something to that effect. Thank you so much. Yeah, he did. He's done that to other people too. At least he's threatened people. Again, like I said, he doxed my personal. He wasn't the first person to dox my personal information. One of his followers, rest in peace, she was the first person to do that. He did that, and again, he at that time he didn't have 1 million subscribers, but he had hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. But he had hundreds of thousands, and you don't know who's listening. These crazy, batshit crazy Umar Johnson followers. You got those kind too. Ain't no telling what they might do, right? Uh-oh. So that put, more importantly, they put my family in jeopardy. Uh-huh. And I don't take kindly to threats like that, because I'm very big on protection when it comes to my kids. I'm hyper vigilant. It's because of my childhood, how I grew up. I'm very hyper vigilant when it comes to that safety and keep my family safe. Okay, I'm not going to allow him to use that to manipulate me to get out of my bag and to come at him the way that he wants me to, because that's a manipulative technique anyway for him. It's intimidating. that. Ozzy Mandus Jones says, why call him Umar? Jermaine Shoemaker is his name. That's what his mama named him. I don't think I've ever said it before, but it slipped tonight. But it's true. It's true. That's what he's interested in.
Okay. Yeah.
Followers, you like I said earlier on, a spirit of appreciation. Instead of being mad at me for telling the truth, or mad at people in the Cook Crush chat for clowning Umar and telling the truth, you should have the spirit of gratitude, because it's better to know the truth than to believe in a lie. Amen. Have I lied on Umar? No, never have. I don't even live like that. I have integrity. I ain't gonna be lying on the man. What's the point of lying on him? When he lie all the time, all I gotta do is just show how he lying. That's all people need to see, in my opinion. All he do is lie. Ever lied on him? No, it's not even necessary. I wouldn't do it even. I still wouldn't do it. Let me give you a quick example. When the information came out that said that Umar was arrested for drug possession and something else, down in Atlanta, I knew that before anyone else reported on it. But I did my due diligence, and again, I was doing my research, because that would have been a nail in the coffin if that was true, way back then, before anyone reported on it. But based upon my research, and I know how to research, I found out that wasn't Umar. Now, would it have been nice if it was Umar? Absolutely. Okay, it would have fit perfectly with what I've been saying about Umar.
You hear that? Integrity. That's integrity. Everybody pointing the finger, but he's like, I ain't gonna jump on that pointing the finger bandwagon. I'm gonna stand on what I believe. I don't think it's him. In fact, I'm researching I keep coming up with conclusions that it's not him. But I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and say it's him anyway, because I don't like him. That's not journalists. That's not reporting. That's not doing what God wants you to do. It's about him. Hello?
But I have integrity. I'm not going to use that against Umar if it's not
integrity.
True. Yeah. Now, let's flip this around. Has Umar lied on me? Yeah. He said I hacked his bank accounts. I didn't hack. Why am I going to hack a bum's bank account? It don't even make no sense living in your mama's closet. Why would I do that? First of all, why would I hack a bank account in the first place?
5 minutes? 10 minutes?
But even still.
15
you know what I mean? Would any of y'all hack a bum's bank account that now talking about I need some money? You know what I'm saying? It don't even make no sense. He said I was gay. He's been saying I was gay since 2020. That's not true.
Wow, that's crazy. The family want me to come eat lunch with them, the whole family in the Philippines. The family is big on eating together and doing things together. So the fiance want me to come, and I said, no, we gotta work. Gotta work in order to get the money to get the food. So she went and got her sister, my sister-in-law. I don't say no to her. She said, big brother, come eat. Yes, ma'am. And got the mama behind her, just in case you say no. That means I've been, yeah. She sold me out, y'all. She sold me out. So
now, is there some evidence that will lead people to believe that Umar got some things going on with the Thumbelina and all this stuff? Yeah, but I ain't gonna put that on him like that. I should have said Thumbelina. That ain't right. I apologize, Umar. I'm sorry about that, bro. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, I've been wanting to say it for a long time. Anyway, I have integrity like that. See, and I'm not going to lie on Umar, even if it may be true, but I don't know it to be true. I ain't going to put that on him. All right. All right. Anyway, thanks, Shakira, for the super chat. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting to say that for such a long time, ever since Lene. Anyway, Chris says, Mary Ann YouTube channel is at 1,000 subs now. Cook Chris has Umar's worst nightmare. Yeah, and there's more coming down the pipe, especially with this Mary Ann Lawyer thing, because I'll talk with her behind the scenes.
I can't get to her channel.
There's a plan. All right. So thank you everyone for subscribing to Mary Ann Lawyer. The goal was to get to 1,000. We're at 1,000, and again, I'll be texting her we communicate over Facebook. I'll be DMing her to see what the next step is and when this will premiere. Okay, and then once I find out, I'll report back, and we're gonna be ready to go. Okay, if she does it as a premiere where she has a chat room, I'll let people know. I'll be up there. We can all hang out and watch it all together. Okay. Thanks, Chris, and thanks to everyone who subscribed to Mary Ann Lawyer. I appreciate it. Really though says, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my.
There it is.
Here we go. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at the bank and realizing it's nothing less left. Because I've been pimping and trash so long that even my mama want my ass out the closet. The last part don't even rhyme. Come on now. But it's true. Right. Yeah, that was the jam back in the day because they had the Stevie Wonder. That was the Coolio. They had the Stevie Wonder backing track and all that kind of stuff. That was the jam. Yeah. And rest in peace to Coolio. Thanks, really, though. You crazy. Kevin says, do only boomers donate money? No. There's all kinds of people that's donated money to Umar. You know, there were people who were senior citizens that used to donate to Umar, and they've passed on. I want y'all to think about that. In fact, I know someone that the reason why they started watching my videos was because their grandmother was donating to Umar.
1,000 subscribers. She has 1,040 subscribers. Now, I think that, you know, a lot of people want to get 1,000 subscribers so they can get monetized. But little do you know, not only you need 1,000 subscribers, you need 4,000 watch hours. And you need those two things within the same year. Now, that was about 3 or 4 years ago. That YouTube might have changed some things since then, because YouTube is really trying to help people get their channels monetized so they can run these ads for people and all that stuff. So,
and they knew it was wrong. What he was doing was wrong. So
anyway.
Listen, Umar, he's gotten money out of all generations, except probably the youngest generation now. A lot of these younger people, they know something ain't right with Umar because he's all on Instagram. They be on Instagram. And there's people exposed him on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram. I'm just on YouTube. But there's people on Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. And they've been exposed to Umar and they see these videos. My kids, that sometimes they say, Daddy, you see this video right here? I look, I said, no, I haven't seen that video, you know. So yeah, I think that the younger generation, a lot of them, they have more, especially because they've been raised on the internet. A lot of, well, I don't mean to say it that way, but they've been raised with social media, that they see things a lot differently than those of us. We didn't have social media. I was telling my kids, my daughters, that I was taking them to school. I told them this morning, I was like, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't even have cell phones. And I was like, what? So yeah, you know, and back in the day, really, when I was really young, we only had, my grandmama had one phone in the house, and when you had that one phone, you couldn't, only one person could be on the phone at a time. I said, really? I said, yeah. And there were times in that neighborhood, if there was too many people on the phone on their phone at the same time, you couldn't even call out. Yeah, my grandma had one of them rotary phones. That goes to show you how old I am. My kids was like, what? A rotary phone? What are you talking about? Right? Very well said. When he's stealing, yeah, he has a history of that. What Umar does is he takes from the black community, and then when things go left, he blames other people. There's been times, Jay Civic, where he's blamed his donors. There's plenty of, even more times where he blames black people for the reason why things are weird. And my haters and the YouTube and struggle streamers and the cookie crud chat and all this other stuff. He points the finger at other people. He has followers that do that too. You know, they try to blame other people because they believe what Umar is saying. But if you do the research and you see, and you're honest about what you're seeing, you'll realize that, no, this is all about Umar. This is all Umar's fault. Ain't nobody's fault with Umar. Someone said this, I think it was Black Wolf said this earlier. He wants to blame everybody else all the time. And he points the finger. That's one thing you see about Umar. That's a narcissism. Narcissists, they don't want to hold themselves accountable. They can do the wrong over and over and over again, but it's always someone else. They're always the victim. It's always someone else's fault. And then that's what they get into that gaslighting shit. Well, Umar does that a lot too. See?
That gaslighting,
get the heat off of him.
That gaslighting.
Now he's saying it's a city of Wilmington, it's the state of Delaware, and it's discrimination. Ain't got nothing to do. You don't pay the bills. This is what happened. Thanks, Jay Civic.
You don't pay your bills.
He says on his IG saying he's offering life coaching and couples coaching for $100 a piece all of a sudden. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Let me go over here. Well, he needs money. He just posting random stuff. Yeah, he posting random stuff up here now. I can just tell. See, he's trying to get attention away from that video because he took it down. So he's been posting a lot since he took that video down.
Oh yeah.
Let me say something else though with Umar. There's so many different ways that Umar, he could have etched out a great living if he wasn't criminal minded and did things the right way. See, can't nobody tell me that Umar with 1.1 million followers on Instagram couldn't have monetized in order to bring in $10,000 a month. If he had done Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook and knew what he was doing with social media, $200,000 a month, $250,000, $300,000 a month, just scale it up over time. Okay. And see, if he wasn't criminal minded and if he wasn't batshit crazy, because that's part of the problem too, yeah, he could have offered coaching. He could have offered. What he could have done is got certifications, because he doesn't hold any professional certification. He could have maintained the certifications as a school psychologist. He could have expanded that to a family therapist, got a license, and then just done it over time, and then provide that services through a website, right? And then use his social media to promote that at the same time. There's so many different ways that he could have done this, including setting up a website, fmgacademy.com. I talked about this extensively in the past. That's another way that he could have brought even in more income, where he's a millionaire by now, 2-3 times over. See, but because he's criminal minded and he wants quick money, and because he's lazy, he doesn't have the discipline, he doesn't have the get up and go, the ambition, right, to do things legitimately with the work involved with building things up over time. He resorted to scamming, which goes back to 2005 in the UNIA. At least in 2005 with the UNIA. But you see how things have played out? Look where he's at today. That's what I'm saying. Umar has no excuse. And Umar Johnson fault. You can blame everybody else, but he had everything he needed to maximize on his potential in order to etch out a wonderful life, financial life at the very least. Okay? But look at him now. He ain't got his own home. You know, he's been homeless since 2019. He always begging for money, consistently begs for money, and he ain't got a pot to piss in 2025. He may even lose these properties in 2025. Yeah. So that's why he's doing this. You know, listen. He may even bring back what was he calling those things? The black parent teleconferences, and try to get money out of people that way. You want to do consultations with me? Blah blah blah. I'm doing this for free, but then you beat the ass by anyway. Thanks, Tink Gee, for the super chat. Well, I'm sorry, people. I know I said I was going, but I got to do these super chats. Okay, I apologize, but hey, listen, I appreciate it. Sister 1973 says, when he was at that phone call and his phone rang, I fell out and said, if anyone believes him after that, they need serious counseling. No joke. Yeah, that was a wake-up call. Real talk, Sister 1973. That rant in and of itself was a wake-up call. Right. Umar, I have some of that inside of the video for members. I'll have that either tomorrow or probably that he's done. That video, in my opinion, is the most important video to see Umar for who he truly is. Cause you ain't nothing but let me stop. He out there. It woke a lot of people up.
They hit the one to see the video, y'all.
No, because that part he's not going crazy cursing off.
Watch this. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Watch this.
Obviously.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
And that's his nephew talking, y'all.
Remember, you guys, and this video is almost an hour long. Okay, so let's look forward to that. It's probably on Friday.
And he's still on the top of it.
It's censored.
Here we go.
Okay, so this is the video right here. I'm not gonna play it, but there's the phone call right there. Here we go.
He's gonna play it anyway.
Yeah, here we go right here. Watch
That's
this.
messed up, man.
Are they running around this intellectually masturbating old ass information like Papa Smurf? That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere.
See,
obviously.
Okay, real quick. You see how he reaches down to cancel the call in essence?
right?
You guys see that?
We all know that.
He
We all
was
got
tripping in
cell
this
phones.
video. I should pull up. Let me not do it because we still. I had a whole plan for today. We got blown off big time. Anyway, watch this.
It's gonna be children and mothers in there, and we gonna keep the shit gangster. You got some personal shit with me, we can handle that shit out back.
We can handle that outside.
I know the conscious community got y'all lazy. Are they running around this intellectually masturbating old ass information
Here we go.
like Papa Smurf? That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. You feel me? Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I got this. Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I got this. I answered the call, nigga.
Whoa. Oh, man. Anyway, y'all see what I'm talking about?
He was trying to cut that.
There's no one on that phone.
That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get. But I'm sexy with. It's gonna be children and
He
mother.
was tripping.
Y'all lazy. All they running around is intellectually masturbating old ass information. Like Papa Smurf. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. That Papa Smurf shit ain't gonna get us nowhere. You feel me? Hold on. Yeah. Nah, I got this. I got this. Hold on. Yeah.
He trying to act like he talking to somebody. And now, hold on. Yeah. Come on, man. Let's go after them Bama's. No, I got this. I got this. Come on, man. We should go out. I go ring. The phone rings again. The hell, boy? Are you serious? Damn. Look here, man. I gotta go, man. The family want me to come eat with them.
Nah, I got this. I got this.
I got this, though. I got this.
That woke a lot of people up. Anyway, all right. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. That was from Sister 1973.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he needs some counsel. He out there, but he wanted to paint the narrative that he a thuggish. He got thugs on deck and all this other stuff. Ain't nothing but a Pookie Bear. Sal says, think of it this way. If Umar scams again with a new project, the Cookie Crush Chat stay in business and you get to keep making money off this stupidity. Yeah, we'll have to see how things play. I mean, get to what I've talked about and other people who've exposed Umar, I would have her on. You know, damage he has caused.
That's crazy, man. This is, dude, y'all got to check
special.
this out.
I don't think that it's something that can happen overnight either. You know, some of you guys, you guys been around a long time. Some of you guys were around when I was really, really struggling. You know, and I own up to all that. I don't blame anybody else. It was my fault. You know, made a lot of mistakes. Wasn't focusing on the right things. Just a screw up in essence. Okay, I was still here with my family, dedicated to my wife, dedicated to my kids, but I just wasn't handling business like I should have been. Now, in retrospect, there's a lot that I learned that I definitely could impart upon younger men, so that they won't make the same mistakes. But I wish I had done things differently. The point is that the journey, it's not so much about Umar, it's about everything else that has taken place in the Cookie Crush. I mean, people getting married, people getting degrees, people picking up certifications, etc. All those types of things, you know. There's a community here that I definitely appreciate, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys, you know, even if we wasn't talking about Umar, right? So thank you, SH Play, for saying that. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a member for 2 months. Tink Gee says, I've been thinking this from day one. How is a successful doctor not personally invested in his own dream? He should have been working and investing this whole time along with the donors. Yeah, and if he had done this when he conceptualized this in 2004, where would he be today? Or if he had done this in 2010 when he posted on his Facebook page. Promises in 2010 to begin laying the groundwork for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Pan-African School for Black Boys, specializing in learning disabilities and disruptive behavior disorders. This will be a private school, and yes, you will pay in order for your son to attend. Grand opening September 11, 2013. This is Chestnut Checkers. See, what if Umar back in 2010, he utilized his skills with the PsyD, and he saved and he saved, and he just didn't work one job, because, you know, if you want to make a dream happen, you got to do what you got to do. Listen, I have my day job, the full-time job, and I got YouTube, which is a part-time job. Listen, over the last, because I've been at with this company for, it's been about a little over almost 2.5 years.
My bad.
8 hours. I'm talking about when you sleep for 8 straight hours. But Umar, he doesn't have that ambition. What he should have done, like you're suggesting, is from the jump back in 2010, let's just say in 2010, He should have consistently been working as a school psychologist, and then pick up a part-time job doing something else. And then, yeah, if you tell people this, I want to open up this school and I'm doing everything that I can in order to make it happen. But I also want to, raise some donations, see if we can raise some donations to contribute to this. But I'm going to have complete transparency. This would include, Tink, all the money that Umar is putting into the pot based upon him working his ass off, right? And then all of the donors' money that they're putting in over time, which he's never been transparent about. He's never provided receipts. Umar don't even know how much money he's collecting from these donors. But he don't have any skin in the game. And Tink, what if he did this starting in 2010 and he did this all the way to for 15 years? I know that sounds crazy, don't it? But he didn't spend the money on himself. He didn't trick the money off gambling. He didn't trick the money off traveling all over the world, going to Africa. He didn't trick the money off, buying rental cars and living in and out of hotel rooms and eating good and all this other freaky deaky stuff he into. What if he did that for 15 years? See, and people say, well, that's a long time. Yeah, I know, I get it. But you think about it, here in 2025, he's about to lose. It's possible he's going to lose these buildings. So all of the money that was spent, that was sent to Umar, which he didn't contribute to at not one penny. All of the money, potentially it could just evaporate and it's all lost. So yeah, in my mind, I would much rather Umar had worked the job and just consistently a full-time and a part-time, handled the business and still do stuff online and still get donations for 15 years to get to 2025 so that he has a significant amount of money, but with transparency, and then he can't keep making excuses indefinitely. We're going to have a ski mask team and we're going to handle him. Umar, if you don't cut it out. I mean, this guy, he be living in fantasy land. Goofy. Thanks, Iceman.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Antoine says, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to bid a farewell to the biggest scammer in social media history, Umar Johnson.
Damn.
Dearly beloved. I like that. I might have to use
This is how
that.
people feel.
In a skit or something. Thank you, Antoine. If I use it, don't be mad at me, okay? Because I probably not going to remember you the one that... But it is true, though. We're going to do it. FMG eulogy, you know what I'm saying? Thanks, Antoine, for the super chat. Lou Will, I can't, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Said you can't keep conning black people with no consequences. Something got to get. Umar, he's faced consequences. It's just, it's not open. You know what I'm saying?
My bad, y'all. I got to go, man. I got to go. The family waiting on me, man. Family first. I always preach that. So I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to come right back. Keep this thing going. Because I want to make it to where Uncle Mike donated and what he said started from the beginning and then at least end with that. I didn't mean to rewind so far, but every person that says something is so interesting, man. Resume. Man, it's hot out that monkey. I've been out there 2 hours later. It's hot, and by the time I got there, man, they started breaking up and they was finished eating. So I didn't eat anything. I should have ate. Now I'm hungry. But anyway, we're gonna keep going, man. We're gonna keep going. You gotta stop and do family things. Let everybody know I'm into the family thing. So here we go, y'all. Here we go.
You gotta see how some of these Umar Johnson followers, some are bad shit crazy. I'm not saying all y'all, but some of y'all, some of y'all, you just over the top crazy with it. The difference is I don't walk around talking about, well, they did this to me. No, I'm not gonna do that. Okay. I knew what I was getting myself into. All right. And I'm not gonna be up here, trying to cry, be all, and I can't believe it, and this and that, and I blame and pointing the finger at it. No, I'm not gonna do that. Umar, that's what Umar did. See? The point is that Umar, it's not that Umar hasn't faced consequences. Let me say what I mean. Here we are in 2025, and Umar could lose these properties in a couple of months. People on social media are going in on him, including his followers. Y'all, when you have some time, go on the King Kong Consciousness YouTube page and go look at the comments from the video that they posted today, which is the video that Umar took down. Those are consequences. See, and on top of that, it's not just that there are people who are waking up and more people are criticizing. This affects his bottom line because everything is about money with this guy. Less and less money is coming in. That's why just last year he said he only collected $80,000 dollars in donations. 80,000 for 2024. If we go back in a year and a half, back in 2015, 2015, I had the video. Umar stated that he was already at $500,000. Now you down to 80,000? And if you want to extend that for a year and a half, using that, it'd be about 120,000. How you go from 500,000? Now you're only bringing in 120,000 on average over the course of a year and a half. See, those are consequences. See? You don't fuck the money up.
Don't say
I was talking about this yesterday. I shouldn't have said what I said, but it's true. Yeah. See, he tricked it off. Those are consequences. Here's another one. Then we move on. This has been a super chat show. Here's another one, another example. Umar claims that he started raising money in 2014. I know that he was raising money at least since 2009, but there's people who said 2008, 2007 online, right? There's people posting this all over the place. I've seen it time and time again over the years. How is it possible? Let's just go with 2014. How is it possible that Umar has raised millions of dollars? Based upon my calculations, again, from 2019 through 2024, $1.67 million. How is it possible he's collected all this money and he's been homeless since 2019? That's a consequence.
Facts. Homeless.
See, good. Not one of you can say, including you, that if people gave you upwards of $2.7 million, but a bare minimum of $1.67 million since 2019 from 2019 to 2024, none of you can tell me that you would be in a position where you're homeless since 2019. Umar's been homeless 2020, all of 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2024, and half of 2025. That's 4.5 years of being homeless. That's a consequence. And he's about to be 51 with at least 3 baby mamas. And no vehicle, living in the mama closet on Section 8 housing. What? That's a consequence. Yeah. So things have the difference is that what's happening now, more and more is coming out about Umar, and in particular his personals. That's a consequence too. See, what Lene has done to Umar, that's a consequence. See? And you know what's crazy? Llewellyn, is that we've only scratched the tip of the iceberg. See, Umar's been at this living diabolically for decades now. And where he's at today and where FTMG is at today, that's a consequence of how Umar's been living. All right. But there's more to come. There's more to come. All right. Thank you for the super chat. The Music Recording Network sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Brother O says, if the buildings are auctioned off.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Right.
This is what I've been waiting on right here. It says 125 pesos.
The Music Recording Network sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Brother O says, if the buildings are auctioned off after all the debts are paid, do the remaining proceeds return to Umar? Property values have risen. Good profit. The value of those buildings, the last time I checked, now I meant to pull it up again. I found it online. It's declined. From what I remember, it was like $360,000, if memory serves me correctly. There was a time in 2020 where the value was closer to $500,000. You see? So this is okay. So answering your question, I thought that if these buildings go to auction, that whatever the sale price is, which is going to be less than the actual value, I know that for sure. Because again, Umar hasn't done anything of consequence. They've been sitting for another 6.5 years. Prior to that, was sitting for 4. So altogether, they've been sitting there for about a decade. Let's say that after the city of Wilmington recoups the amount of money that Umar owes, which is $33,000, $38,388.22. Let's say if there is $250,000 left over. I assumed that $250,000 would go back to Umar, but someone posted, and I don't know if this is true. Someone's gonna have to do the research. This is not my expertise, but someone was saying that, and they were in real estate and in the state of Delaware, that's not what would happen. That basically Umar wouldn't get anything. Okay? I don't know how this would work out. And see, the thing is that if that did happen, what would happen is Umar would get that money and then he can walk away. See, this is what I'm saying. It's not over if they're sold, because we would still have to see what happens after they're sold, and that would be public record too. See? So again, this is not my expertise. That's what I assumed, and based upon the first time years ago, there was a situation that was similar to this. It wasn't the same thing, and we were speculating about what would happen if these properties were sold at auction, right, at a sheriff's sale. I don't know for sure. Okay, and if anyone has that information, you can email me. Okay, LenonHonor@yahoo.com. And if you have receipts to back it up, I would appreciate that too, because I can come back on and I can clarify. But that's one option, that he would receive a certain amount of money back. But another option is that he doesn't receive anything. That's a potential too, right? I would think though that he would have to that some money would be sent back to him, right? All right. Thanks, Brother O. And yeah, in essence, he could profit. Not that it would be more than the purchase price, allegedly $400,000, but that then he can take whatever money, let's say if it's $120,000, $200,000, whatever it would be, he would take that money and he would just leave this whole project behind him, and they don't have to deal with the buildings anymore. And he just goes on about his merry way until that money runs out. Then he comes up with a new scam. Okay. Thank you, Brother O. For Super Chat. The Music Recording Network says, keep doing your thing, bro. We are behind you 100%. We do a lot of your videos to help spread the word. I want to help you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I noticed that there's more people who are covering Umar, which is good. And there's also people who are like replaying my videos and all that stuff. I do appreciate that. The more and more people learn about Umar, it may take some time, but it'll be it'll be for the betterment. Again, it's not just what Umar is doing with this school scam, right? It's also what Umar is doing to these black women. It's also the damage that Umar has caused in terms of the trust in the black community. Because if you have someone like Umar who has this stage, he has a platform. Again, 1.1 million followers on Instagram alone. He gets on the Breakfast Club, 3, 4, 5 million views, etc. You have someone on that's on that level as a social media influencer doing this to black people, betraying black people, betraying the trust of black people, devolving the trust that black people have in other black people. Then what happens when the next person comes around who's serious about opening up a school or has a project that's worthy of being supported financially? There are going to be people who are going to say, no, I'm not going to do that, because remember what Umar did? See? What if it's someone who wants to write a book, or they want to do a documentary, right? Or they're having, let's say, they're trying to open up a business, right, that would be of service to the black community. But because of Umar's betrayal, there are going to be more people going to be side-eyeing because of Umar. See? That's another issue that I have with this guy. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Joser or Joser Falcon says, start a GoFundMe to buy the building from the city I auction. Listen, if it was presented to me as an option to purchase those trap bandos and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Preeminently because in 2019, the EPA issued a report, the Environmental Protection Agency, and they classified these buildings as brownfield catalyst sites. And Umar hasn't remedied that issue. That's dangerous. It's dangerous to even be in these buildings. And even, listen, Umar should have never had people up in there. See, what the EPA said was that these are brownfield catalyst sites, and they suggested to the city to demolish these buildings. Now, if an Environment Protection Agency tells you to demolish a building, there's some shit going on, some serious shit going on. Lead paint, asbestos. We know that there's black mold in there. Who knows what else is going on? Because Umar ain't done nothing. I'm talking about anything substantive. Everything has been superficial, nothing substantive. So listen, for me, I mean, if I was sitting on $4 million and I had an opportunity to purchase those trap banners for $200, I wouldn't even waste my time. I'm talking about 200,000. I wouldn't do it. It's just, and then and not to be, don't take this the wrong way, but it's in a crime infested neighborhood. It's a weed and seed community, there's homeless people, drugs, all, drug dealing and all people be doing drugs up there. There's been times with Umar, he up there, he moves stuff around from trash. You see a syringe sitting up over there. He didn't mention that. Someone had a bucket and they were using it, to urinate in it and for feces. Huh? What kind of school? That's a school? I have a video I can pull up right now. There's a homeless lady sleeping on the steps, literally. Don't make me pull that up. That's just sad. See? So there's crime infested. The year prior to Umar purchasing these trap bandos, the city of Wilmington was ranked 6th or 7th in the nation for violent crime per capita. I'm going by. No, it wouldn't happen. Dude, I might go and buy me a Chuck E. Cheese. Y'all just come through. That thing where they be hitting them things. Y'all come on through that. Y'all. Umar, he be working there. He be Chuck E. Cheese. He be walking around, annoying people and shit. Hey, you get it on your cash. Yeah. I said, listen. Anyway, listen, Chucky, you did. Okay, thanks, Hussein. For super chat. Baldy Lock says the T app doesn't allow screenshots for women's safety purposes, but a lot of women said he sleeps with snow bunnies and pays them off to be quiet. Oh my God. Listen, I'm not going to download that app. I'm not going to do it because that's too much. Yeah, it doesn't allow. Yeah, there are. I know about that. There are security measures so that you can't take screenshots of certain things, even on your cell phone. But I know what you're talking about. Anyway, there was someone who was saying that I should look on this T app because there's people on there talking about Umar and how when they dated him and what he was doing and what he was into, and allegedly he was dealing with some quote unquote snow bunnies, allegedly, and he pay them off. I don't know. I will say this. I'm sure that Umar has paid money to women for their silence. I know that for a fact. There's this one woman that she was intimate with Umar, and afterwards he sent her a PayPal. She didn't even ask for it. I said, why would he do that? And then someone said, well, he's probably used to paying for it. I said, what? Again, man, if that's what I'm not here to judge, but listen, I got 5 kids. You ain't gonna catch me paying. Well, I'm married too. I guess that matters too. You know what I'm saying? but even if I wasn't married, I ain't paying for that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You know how expensive groceries is? Gonna pay for some poutine. No. All right, thanks, Baldy Locks. Did I say poutine? That's for sure how old I am. Zafar Kelly says, whatever happened to Sharon? I don't know. I haven't seen Sharon around in a long time. I think she's still behind the scenes. I think she's the one that does the graphics for Umar when he posts on Instagram. She's been on this scam from day one. Well, I shouldn't say day one, but no, because oh my goodness, let me say since in and around 2014. Yeah, I'll say that. Possibly before that, okay? It's likely that it was before that because she's one of his day ones, but she was never really out front like that. And more recently, we haven't seen her. But part of the issue is that Umar, a lot of those people that were around back then, he don't even be having them on video anymore. I'm gonna tell you why I think that's the case, though. Too, I think the substance abuse has gotten so out of control that he's become more and more. And people that got that, they get real greedy. They don't care about nobody else. They'll take people's money. They'll take a person's car and go sell that shit and get the money to go get their substance. I mean, they take people's clothes. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I grew up around this shit. I know what I'm talking about. What I believe has happened is, first of all, Umar's substance abuse has gotten more and more out of control, and he's gotten more and more greedy as a consequence. But then the money hasn't come in like it used to. See, in his heyday, he had a lot of people around him because they knew he had a lot of money, and I'm sure that he was kind of spreading that money around. But at a certain point, once that money starts to dry, and then that substance abuse really takes over, he's not trying to kick it with people like he used to. He ain't trying to spend money wildly, take them out to eat and all this kind of stuff. He ain't trying to do all that stuff like he used to, because there's not enough money, at least in his own mind, in order for him to get what he needs. And that's what his life revolves around. See, that's what I think. And I think there's people, and I'm not saying this is the case with Sharon, but I think that there's a lot of people that's why they're not around anymore. Thanks for the super chat. Ralph says, will he get the proceeds if the city takes the sales? Again, I explained this earlier. I'm not quite sure. Again, if there's anyone who has information on that, please email me and I'll report on it. I assume that he would, but that may not necessarily be the case. Again, it depends on how much money they're trying to get out of Umar, how much they sell these properties for. If it says the truth always wins in the end, it took a while, but Umar is done. Yeah, more. You can go long to get more recent videos. I've tagged him. I remember when I did the documentary, he did reach out to me, but I just wasn't comfortable, at least at that time, to go on other platforms to talk about the first documentary. This is many years ago. But I'm aware of him. I've seen many of his videos over the years. It's not that he covers Umar a lot, but when he does, I'll watch. Yeah, he won't call me brother though. I don't like that. If he called me brother one time, we'd be real cool. I'm just playing. Anyway, he did a video today to talk about Umar. I think he did one yesterday too. I think it was yesterday, but I think it was today. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but at some point I'll take a look. Yeah, and people who have been because Pocket Watcher with JT, he actually gave me a shout out too. I really appreciate that because there's people who came over from Pocket Watcher with JT. He's big time. Star Report, he's been around a long time, a lot of success on YouTube. He's big time too. So when people do that, I really do appreciate it. So shout out to Star Report. Thank you for doing that. You didn't have to, but I appreciate that. And also thank you to Pocket Watch with JT and anyone else too who does that. I appreciate that. Okay? Thanks, Mr. Controversy, for the super chat. Thanks for letting me know too. I appreciate it. Constance became a member. Thank you so much, Constance. I appreciate it. Black Wolf gifted another membership. Thank you, Black Wolf. Okay, whoever see that gift, membership, make sure you thank Black Wolf, the OG. I'm trying to get down to the bottom, but it is what it is. User 225 says, how aware are African nations of Umar Johnson's shadiness? I will say this, that more and more Africans are waking up too, because I've been seeing people say things like, don't come to Ghana, don't come back to Ghana. Or they'll say, I'm from Ghana and we don't claim you, that kind of thing. So I think that there are more Africans that are waking up. The way that this happens is, again, people in Philly, they knew about Umar way before anyone else, way before I did, for sure. They knew that he was a charlatan, a con man, he was no good. And then it just, I think people in New York also knew too, because he did a lot of dealings in New York, shady shit that he was doing too, way back in the day, out there. That's back in the, that was in the Sonetta days, right? And then the rest of the people around in the country, as he kind of expanded out, especially after Hidden Colors, they hear about Umar more and more, and then they start to hear things and rumblings and this and that, and then concert strippers, Sadie Grant, and more people, they realize here in the United States of America, that's how it's worked. And then more recently, I think people in Africa, in different countries in Africa, they're realizing more and more about who Umar is and what he's really all about. And over time, those numbers will grow. Ultimately, this is Umar's doing. Right? This is Umar's doing. Thanks, user 225. Daniel says, school never, donations forever. And that's really what this comes down to, Umar. With Umar, it was always about the money. It wasn't about opening up a school. That's what the evidence shows me. And I'm about the receipts. I'm about the evidence and proof. I'm about the research and the timeline. The timeline is huge. It does not take a person. He conceptualizes in 2024. It doesn't take a person over 20 years to get something started. Even if he wasn't asking for donations, and there's nothing wrong with that, but even if he wasn't asking for donations, he should have been able to create something if he was serious, right? After 20 years. See? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with him collecting donations if the donations are going towards what he said it was going to go to. I know for a fact that most of the money that Umar has raised has not gone towards what he said he was going to use the money for. He's been living off of this. Okay. Real quick. Hey, buddy. Umar raised money for a documentary. He called it the Shockumentary, and it was supposed to premiere in the fall of 2014. He was still collecting money. I thought it was 2020, but I ran across the video in 2022 where he was still asking for money for this documentary that was supposed to premiere in 2014. What kind of man? Well, that's a con man. What kind of scam? It's supposed to premiere in 2014. He still asks for money in 2022. Doesn't that sound familiar? See? So the point is, it's about donations forever. Production never, because he never produces what he says he's going to produce. He was collecting money for that. There's other things too that he's collecting money for that he never produced on. That's just one example. Okay, obviously the permanent example is the St. Paul's College and the Wilmington, St. Paul's College school scam and the Wilmington school scam, and all the other lesser scams, including that Detroit scam. That was crazy. Thanks, Daniel, for the super chat. Quincy became a member. Thank you so much. Shout out to the number 23. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to see what team that is. It's probably a high school team because he looks like a young brother. Yeah. It look like you got a little jump shot. You know, you can dribble a little bit, left, right hand, maybe dunk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's for becoming a member. I used to ball with the homies back in the day. I wasn't really good at it. You know what I'm saying? I could dribble real good, but that was about it. No jump shot, couldn't dunk, you know, couldn't shoot the three, but I would have fun. I'll tell you that. Thank you for becoming a member. Doctrine Dark says, hey, then have you ever donated at one point, and what drives you to keep the pressure on Umar? I never donated because I knew back in 2014 when someone sent me a video about Umar, and it's the one that where he's up there at these abandoned buildings. I've played it before. I knew right away that something wasn't right. He didn't have a team. He looked goofy. It's not me to say it that way, but he looked goofy. He had on some jeans, walking around the St. Paul's College looking goofy. The video itself, you know, it's not like he had a professional team with editing and different camera angles and none of that stuff. So it wasn't professionally done. The audio wasn't all that great either. I could play. It wasn't bad per se, but you know, there's things. And I'm a musician. I studied music for a very long time, so audio is very important to me. And even in video production, if your audio is horrible, it doesn't matter what the video quality is. If your video quality is not up to par, as long as you have audio, good audio quality, you can get away with it. You're just going to have to manipulate the video to make it presentable. But you can't manipulate bad audio, okay? Unless it's something simple, like if there's too much echo, right? There is you can get some of that echo out of there because I have a plug-in on Premiere Pro that I use for that, especially when Umar's back in the day when he was in large venues. It'd be that echo. Anyway, I knew back then it was shady. He didn't have a team. He didn't have a plan. He still doesn't have a plan to this day. So I never donated, and I've donated to other people with their projects. I have even to Q Butter later on. You know, I've done that. There's people who fell on hard times, and I've donated to. I have a friend who passed away. She was a friend of mine in college. I remember her and we went to my cousin's. This was the first time I was in college at UC Irvine. We went to my cousin's. I took her to my cousin's marriage, his wedding, and we drove down and she met the family and all that. So just a really wonderful young lady. She passed recently, and I donated to her and her family because she was. I didn't know any of that was going on. But really, really wonderful person. But to Umar, no, because Umar hasn't produced anything to date. You know, with all the stuff that he's collected money for, he hasn't produced anything. And then what drives me to keep the pressure on Umar? There's really three things. Number one, how he's exploiting the Black community. It's just wrong, and he's been doing it for such a long time, right? And he thinks that he's getting away with it, but he's not. Justice will be served. Okay. Number two, the exploitation of Black women. As a man, I just don't. We have to speak out against that, and I've always been that way, even in the real world. See, you want to do another dude dirty, you're gonna pay a consequence. But you got to be a punk to be doing these women like this, and men should speak out against that. See, what Umar has done with the sexual exploitation of Black women, I just have an aversion for that straight up, and there's no other way to say that. And then thirdly, what I would say is that the damage that Umar has caused in terms of the trust that he's betrayed so many Black people that when the next person comes along, like I was saying earlier, they're going to be less inclined to support. And to me, that's personal because I know that people supported me and when I was really down and out of my time of need, my family. And I know that if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. He's fucking shit up for people later on down the line. I apologize. I'm telling you that's where we get into the personal aspect. I ain't really talked about it like that, but it's personal to me. He's betrayed so many people. And he has no shame. So those are the three primary reasons. There's other ancillary reasons too, but those are the three primary reasons. Okay? Thank you, Doctor, for the super chat. For FRMCF Music says he's 50 and still acts like a kid. Is embarrassing. Yeah, he's in a state of arrested development. This has been a super chat show. My goodness gracious. We ain't got to nothing today. That's okay. That's all right. Maybe I don't know. I guess we could do just a day where we just do super chats, but then people still gonna send them on other shows. Anyway. Umar's in a state of arrested development. He doesn't live a life as an adult or as a man. He doesn't even take care of his kids. He's not even in his children's lives, and he doesn't see value in them whatsoever. Okay, he's in a state of arrested development. Unless children are brought out of this mindset, they will think that everything is about them and that everyone owes them and that no one else matters. You know, like a little baby or a toddler, they don't be giving a shit about nobody else. You know, I'm hungry, you better feed me. You got that toy, I want that toy. Give it to me. I don't want you to give it to me. They don't care. Well, that's Umar. You remember in that video, he was saying, give me. If you can find a school, blah, 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 give me. If there's a school that's around $500,000, $400,000, we can work with that. Give me. What? You 51 years old, almost 51 years old, talking about give me. Well, that's what these little, see, I don't raise kids. I know how it go. But you got to raise them out of that, right? To where they don't think the world revolves around them. Umar thinks the world revolves around. That's why he feels so entitled with the narcissism. He's in a state of arrested development. He was never raised out of that. I would say he's like, emotionally, he's like a 6 or 7 year old. I can't even say that, because my kids wasn't acting like that at no 6 and 7 years old. Damn, I know there be some kids that be acting crazy, and you see them in the store and stuff. They're like, why? They be 6 and 7. My kids, they wasn't acting like that. When they were real young, yeah, they throw a little tantrum here, but I used to look at it, I was like. Because they want you to go back at them, because they want you to give them that attention. Quick, stop. No, I'll just be. And then they figured it out. I said, "Oh, Daddy, he ain't even responding to that, so ain't no point to that no more. I ain't gonna do that no more." See? But Umar, he's 50, about to be 51. He still be throwing tantrums. The SETI rant was a tantrum. The Zora rant was a tantrum. The Pajama Mama rant was a tantrum. Okay. More recently, the Lene rant. That's another tantrum. Talking about fish tanks. We were supposed to get to that video today. I don't know what we're going to do. Thanks for the super chat. But he's in a state of arrested development. That's the point. What kind of man? Yeah, that's Umar. See? Let me tell y'all one other thing on Umar when it comes to how he lives as a man. I don't see how he doesn't see this as just, why isn't he embarrassed? See, I'm embarrassed on how, where I was at many years ago, where I was at in life. I'm embarrassed by that. I mean, I've made corrective efforts, yeah, and I'm proud of where I'm at today. I'm thankful. You guys have helped tremendously. I appreciate all that. I had to put in the work. But he don't even have embarrassment while he's involved in what he's doing. What kind of man? That's what I'm saying. Umar don't learn no lessons. He's like a toddler that don't want to learn nothing. I've been trying to teach this guy for such a long time. He don't want to change. He want to hold himself accountable. He blames us. You see the kid, they're like a little kid. I blame everybody else. He be making up fantastic stories and lying into that world. It's like, he's in a state of arrested development. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he has no shame about it. See, real quick. If you're living in your mama closet, and at the age of 50, about to be 51, it's Section 8 housing. You don't raise $1.6 million. You don't have your own vehicle. You ain't never been in a long-standing relationship. You ain't got no shame, and you keep begging for money. You ain't got no shame. That's crazy. Hey, buddy. That's crazy. See? But I think for Umar, because in the state of arrested development, he doesn't have that level of self-awareness to be able to say, hey, wait a minute. I got to get my stuff together. And this is not a good look. I've been there. It's not a good look. See? Yeah. Thanks, Veracity Exchange TV. Appreciate you. Kirby, how's it going? Kirby says, remember y'all, anybody remember that car called Kirby from way long time ago? It just popped in my mind. It was like a Beetle car, one of them Beetles. And it used to drive by itself. So how old I am. And it had a little number on it too. I can't remember what the number was. Was it 21 or 12? I don't know. Kirby says, I'm telling all y'all in the Cook Crush chat that Umar going to pay these outstanding bills on the second Tuesday of next week. Yeah, you're going to have a hamburger too. Listen, Kirby, I think Umar's best move is to come up with the money. I shouldn't be saying this because then he's gonna do it because he's gonna keep scamming. His best move is to come up with the money to pay this because what's going to happen is that if he loses these buildings, I don't know, 90% of the people that used to donate, they're not going to donate to this guy ever again because it's a waste. At that point, he would have wasted millions of dollars of black people's money, and he ain't putting not one penny in. You see, that would be the best move for him to do on the second Tuesday of next week. Okay, yeah, yeah, and he needs to do it. He needs to do it by August 32nd. If he does it on August 32nd, he'd be good then. All right, thanks, Kirby. Constance, I'm almost to the bottom. Constance, excellent job researching. I don't understand why everyone don't see the evil man, this evil man's plan. Yeah, Umar, he's a master manipulator. I think that has a lot to do with it. He lies a lot. He has the gift of gab. I think Umar, he's so convincing. Even I shouldn't say it that way, but I think he's because he's so adamant when he lies. It's easier for him to convince people that he's telling the truth. And he does it so much, and it happens so easily with this guy. I think his followers are used to it. They're used to him lying to them, and then they believe it. The research shows that Umar is a con man. The research shows that Umar is a master manipulator. The research shows that Umar is sexually exploiting these black women. The research shows that Umar, he's diabolical with what he's doing. He knows what he's doing too. It's calculated. The research shows that Umar, he was never interested in opening up a functional school. In fact, Umar already admitted that these schools, if they ever open, they're not going to be accredited. That's diabolical. Because that's not what he promised. He promised a boarding school for boys and girls. Okay. So the research is all out there. You know, I just think that it's easier to believe in someone without doing your due diligence than to do your due diligence and see the person for who they really are. And if people did that due diligence with Umar based upon the research, that's all I'm saying, research. And then, of course, critical thinking, logic and reason, you would have to come to the conclusion that Umar, he's not about the business. He's a con man. Real talk. Listen, Umar don't even like black people. He talks down to black people all the time, especially black men. Most of what he says when he talks about black people is disparaging and disrespectful. Go listen to him. You can't say that. Furthermore, you can't say that Umar he has love for black people when he don't even love his own kids. What you talking about? Evidently, he don't have enough love for his mama to make sure she's been taken care of properly, and she ain't living in Section 8 housing after collecting $2.7 million. And ain't living in the hood, and can't even get upstairs, and can't even get up out the house, and can't even see her other family members. You all know that Umar Johnson's mama's mama tried to see Umar Johnson's mama before she passed away, and Umar wouldn't allow it. So Umar Johnson's grandmama passes away without being able to see her own daughter one last time. That goes to show you what type of person Umar is. He's diabolical. The research is out there, but people refuse. Some people, at least, they refuse to see it. Thankfully, more and more people are waking up. Right? Thank you, Constance. That's diabolical. User 225 says, I don't know if I feel like Umar Johnson's radical ideas, school to prison pipeline crisis that made him famous are at odds with being a legit therapist. Not possible, in my opinion. Umar was never a therapist. He's never been licensed as a therapist. He hasn't been trained as a therapist. A therapist is something different than a school psychologist. I've already done the research on it. So you have to have certifications to do therapy, and you got to get a license if you want to do it on your own as a therapist. Umar never had a license as a school psychologist either. But he tells people that he's a therapist, and he's a family therapist. He's a child therapist. I've heard him say all kinds of things that are simply not true. He's never worked to that capacity. And people who are in the field of mental health, they recognize it right away, because he conflates all these different things. He just titles that he appoints to himself, but he's not working to any degree as a therapist, a child therapist, a family therapist, a relationship therapist. I mean, he's throwing all kinds of stuff out there. Okay. But again, that's just Umar, what he does to misrepresent himself, because he's a master manipulator. And then he holds these degrees over black people's heads like, okay, I'm the almighty because I got 6 degrees. You got 6 degrees, but you living in your mama closet. You got 6 degrees. You've been homeless since 2000. Okay, since 2019. Okay. Thanks, user 225. Mr. Controversy says, Lenon, how are you reading super chats with glasses on and still squinting? Come on, come on, Scooby. Am I squinting? I don't know. I mean, I can read them like this, but it's just a little more. Actually, it's a little. From this right here, it's a little more blurry. I need to lean forward like this. Let me take them off. I don't know. Now I need them on. Yeah, my eyesight, especially when I was in college the second time, boy, my eyesight was like. I'm
trying to. I'm trying to skip some of them, man, but I'm scared I'm gonna miss something important.
I want to get into it today to build it up and show you guys how Umar, he pre-scripted this. You know, all this is pre-scripted leading up to where he's at today. With bro, that phone call was here. Yeah, it was hilarious. People still. But I'm for time's sake, I'm gonna leave it right there. The point is that he could have gotten these for much less than what he said he got. Thanks, Jeff, for the super chat. This in the doorbell video at his mom's. Yeah.
The doorbell
that
video.
woke a lot of people up, right? Thanks, Jam Jack. Yeah, we covered that extensively. Matthew says, it's funny to me that Umar never names the bank, almost like if he did, they could easily debunk his claims. Yeah, but the other thing, too, is that if he did that, just like with him naming the city and the state of Delaware,
right here,
they're discriminating against him. Like, if you're going to say that, listen, the city and the state, they got lawyers, and they know that that's not true. So he could be held liable for saying things like that. Well, the same thing with this allegedly the bank that's froze his accounts or that they're going to issue a refund, whatever he says. He's all over the place with that. Don't even make sense. He contradicts himself. So no, he's not going to name a bank, because if he names a bank, then the banks get hold of it. Because I'm sure that if he's, let's say if he said Wells Fargo, okay, well someone could just contact Wells Fargo. There's a guy online that says you guys are scamming him and that he's going to sue you because of this. No, well he didn't say discrimination for his bank. See, he doesn't really give an explanation for the bank situation, like why it is that they haven't issued sent him a check, and the story don't even make any sense. But if he says Wells Fargo, then someone sent Wells Fargo that video, I'm sure that they would escalate that to their legal department. Okay? Not that anything would come out of it, but they would have a duty to at least report that, right? And Umar, he doesn't want that to happen because, again, like I was saying, I think it was yesterday, that could be a domino that falls, that hits the next one, that hits the next one, next. Now Umar's brought up on some charges, not based upon him saying Wells Fargo, but because he's been investigated for what he's been doing with this school scam, right? Which he may be being investigated for right now anyway. Thanks, Matthew. Good point. This is Common Sense says he could have invested $500,000 in the S&P 500 10 years ago and had more than enough by now. Absolutely. There's a lot of things that Umar could have done. See, but he was spending the money on himself anyway. He was living off of that money. But if he had taken, see, he was already at $500,000 in 2016. By the time we get to 2017, he says that he's at $1 million. In fact, he said by the summer of 2016 that he would be at $1 million. He also said we need another $1 million in 2016. So let's say if he waited and he just, because it's not like he was going to open up a school back then. He hadn't found a school. If he had taken that $1 million and invested in the S&P 500 and then kept collecting money and kept putting it in. And again, that's not what he should have done anyway, because that's not what the intent was. The intent was, he didn't say anything about how he was going to invest it as a nonprofit. I don't even know if that's legal. Okay. But the point is that there are things that he could have done with the money so that it could have grown over time. See, Pocket Watch with JT, one of the things he pointed out years ago was that Umar has this money at that time was over $500,000 sitting in a non-interest bearing account. Why would you put it in a non-interest bearing account? Why not put that $500,000 into an interest bearing account and just let it sit? And then all the other money that you collect, instead of spending on yourself to travel and eat good and getting rent hotels and motels because you was homeless, etc. The list goes on and on. Just keep stacking those chips and just, let the interest just grow. Who knows where he would be at today? But again, like I said, it wasn't about opening up a school. It wasn't about fiduciary duty. It wasn't about him being a proper steward of the money. It was not about him using the money for what he claimed that he was going to use the money for. What it was ultimately, what it came down to was that it was a money grab, and that's still the case to this day. That's like right now he may lose these properties. That's more than enough for people to realize that he's a con man. There's other stuff that he could have done, Tim, and he could have taken $20,000 and invested in, set up a website, FMG Academy, and made it a subscription-based website, get content uploaded. Blah, people would have done that for free, send him free content, blah, blah, blah. I already explained this, and he would have been a multimillionaire by now. And then he could use that money to actually fund this project of opening up a brick and mortar school. Okay? But, he didn't do that because he's a con man. Thanks. This is Common Sense. YouTube advisor Lenon, imagine in the end, Umar Johnson gets a Mormon snow bunny. Well, that would be wild. I do believe that Umar, that if he could have one, he would go for it. Okay, I do believe that. Thanks, YouTube advisor. JD says Jermaine better flee to Zamunda. yeah. That's about the only place or Wakanda, one of the two. Thanks, JD. Good trend form of the AK. Here we go. Cookie Crush chat should chip in to buy the bundles and start the Cookie Crush Academy of Obatala Shakes and Marcus Garvey burgers. Yeah, and then we'll make sure that we put like Umar suggested, an observatory on the roof. Okay, that way we can get into the sci-fi stuff and go. We open up a black vegan sports bar, non-alcoholic with 3 levels. First level is where you can play. I don't know. Thanks, good twin from Nick. I ain't seen this in a long time. That's a picture of the good twin. That was Side-Eye and Umar back in the day. That was a great interview. Thank you so much. I wish I could interview them. That would be awesome to have them on. Thank you for the super chat. Everyone else too. Everyone that I've covered so far, thank you for the super chat. I'm almost at the bottom. The little gaming channel says, remember Umar thought he's seen a piece of crack rock on these steps and moved it with his finger. Yeah. That's in the video that I have for members, but then there's also a version that I'm going to edit it down into segments for everyone here on YouTube in the near future. That was an eye-opening moment for us as a Cookie Crush chat. We didn't know what was going on at the time when we first reviewed that video. That was years ago. But upon further review, as they say, it became very apparent what exactly took place there. And that just goes to show you that, Umar, he has a substance abuse issue. It's a lot more serious than I think people would kind of want to believe, because most people think, or at least his followers, they think that he's a school psychologist and a therapist and all these things that he says that he is. He's not a school psychologist. He hasn't been a school psychologist since 2010, 2011, based upon my research. What I believe is that 2014 picture of him in an office, I don't think he was a school psychologist at that time. I think that was a time where he was a school principal. I haven't been able to verify it, and that it was just for a matter of months, a few months, and that was it. But in terms of Umar being a school psychologist, he's been out of that field for over a decade now, close to 15 years now. But he still tells people that, right? So if you have someone who's saying they're the most requested scholar, they're a school psychologist, a therapist, a family therapist, a child therapist, and all these other things that he says that he is, it's going to be less likely for people to see the truth that he has a substance abuse issue, and a serious one at that. That's where a lot of this money is gone. And then that post-nasal drip, right? And then when he be fiending for stuff, and then when he's high. In the video, I have examples of that too. I've talked about. Yeah. But that right there, that woke a lot of people up. I remember that to this day, because we couldn't figure it out. Then when we figured it out, we were like, what? Right? Thanks, Little Gaming Channel, for the super chat. Triple X says, ultimately, will Umar do jail time behind this? I don't think that Umar would do jail time for the scamming of black people. I don't think that's what would happen. In my opinion, I mean, it could, but I don't think that would be the case. I think that it would be tied to that at least. And what I mean by that is that if the IRS actually audited Umar based upon his IRS filings and looked into how much money he has actually raised, they will see very quickly that there are some serious discrepancies. If they audit his bank accounts, if they audit his Cash App in particular, if they audit his GoFundMe, his PayPal, okay, and then now his Apple Pay and whatever else he's using these days. And then they also look into checks and money orders, right? Because there's a digital trail for all that stuff once it's actually deposited. They will find out very quickly that he's raised way more than what he's reporting to the IRS. Okay, now we're talking about tax evasion and we're talking about fraud. I would also speculate that if they looked into his previous EIN number, where he was collecting money, and during that time, Umar, we have him on record saying that he had collected over $1 million way back then. They would have to look and see an audit to see, okay, well, was he reporting all of that money? And the truth is, they'll find out very quickly that he didn't. That's why they revoked his nonprofit status. Okay, that's fraud and that's tax evasion too. That's what I think Umar would get hemmed up on. Right? All right, thanks Triple X for super chat. JD says, "Where's my gula Africans at?" Yeah, he throw anything out there. Madagascar. One time he said German. I said, okay, all right. Yeah, there's Africans in German. Thanks, JD. I ain't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing all right. Just Art and Paint says, "Thank you forever your dedication and time." Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you for the super chat, and then thank you for your dedication. Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay, it's a little bit of typo, but don't worry about it. You ain't gotta send another super chat. I'll figure it out. Okay, thank you again. If Africans think you a scam, now we shouldn't do that because there is that stereotype, you know, and we shouldn't do that, you know, especially people from Nigeria. I get it, but we shouldn't do that. They're just like the scammers from India, you know, they be calling you. Can I get you to get onto your computer? We got a virus. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I have a degree in cybersecurity. What are you talking about? Hey, click. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, yeah, there's scammers everywhere. It's you know. All right, thanks, little gaming chat. I just don't want to. All right. Thank you for the the one true Whitney says, "Where are the building permits for the school?" There are no permits. One thing too, y'all, if y'all think about this, if he's doing these renovations, even though he said they were done in 2023, but then in 2025, more recently, he said that he's still renovating. Okay. There should be posted on the doors the permits, right? Hit the one. We're almost done. We're not even. We better get to the videos. Okay, we're almost done. Let's get to the super chats and I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do my best to live stream tomorrow. Where we're at. Protest. Just sit on the roof, et cetera, et cetera. He runs this over and over again, and he does have followers. They eat that up. But he's trained them that way. But this is all Umar's fault. Ain't got nothing to do with racism. Thanks, Sugar Chris, for the super chat. I feel weird saying Sugar Chris with the lips on there with the purple. You know what I'm saying? That's
protest.
I said, wait, what am I saying? Sugar Chris. I better watch my mouth. Thank you. Side the Olympian says, "Believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see." Yeah, I've heard that before. And you know what people were saying with Umar when he's talking about his the bank accounts were frozen, all this stuff. And the emails, he sent emails to try to get this resolved, but they didn't respond back. People were saying, "Well, show me the receipt. Show us the emails." Again, believe nothing you hear and half of what you see. Now, like I said before, I operate with integrity. If I'm speculating, I say I'm speculating, or I'll say I believe. You guys can. I'm very careful with that. Because I want to be fair. I've always been fair with Umar. Now I've been mad at him and I gone off on him. I get it. Okay, emotions get the best of all of us at some point, right? But I'm not gonna lie to this on this guy, and I'm always going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But one thing I have learned is never believe anything that Umar says. Do the research to get to the truth. Get the receipt that proves one thing to be true. Don't go based upon what Umar says because he's a pathological liar. He lies more than he tells the truth. I already know that to be a fact. I can tell you so many times he lied about stuff. And then I'm thinking about, okay, when did he tell the truth? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. See? And sometimes he'll tell a little bit of the truth mixed in with a whole bunch of lies. So it's like, okay, whatever. But he tells the truth to get you hooked in. Right? Then he'd be lying to y'all, you Umar Johnson fathers, get them money, get them draws. What kind of man? Why you got to do that, Umar? Why don't you just go and get a regular old job? I mean, you can do it. You can do. I mean, listen, Walmart hiring, UPS, USPS. You need to be a bus driver. Umar be a great bus driver. Them kids, they be, teasing him and stuff. Aren't you that guy that was on YouTube and you collected millions of dollars and you live in your mama's closet based upon what Lenon Honor said? Anyway, believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Thank you, Sai. I've heard that before too. Kitwana says, at what point did he decide he wasn't going to work anymore? Two cohorts of children could have graduated if started a 5-room school. What a shame. Yeah. If he had done that, but he was never serious. And I can tell you, Kitwana, I know when, because I have the video where he explains Umar is on record in videos saying that it was in 2010 where he had to make a decision. And I can pull it up because I have it in my notes, but he had to make a decision between his career as a school psychologist and his efforts to educate the people. I think that's the term that he used. Okay, this is when he starts to make inroads into the Black conscious space. So that's why by the 2011, he's in Hidden Colors, but didn't nobody really know about Umar. Okay, he didn't really start blowing up until after 2013. Okay, but the way you let him tell it, he made Hidden Colors. Okay, I'm saying this now because I got a member video for you guys. You guys gonna trip on this one. So Umar makes a decision based upon his own words in 2010 that he's going to focus on teaching the people. And that's when he starts getting into the Black conscious space and doing lectures and stuff. Sometimes he wasn't actually the lecturer. He would actually go and vend and sell CDs and DVDs. He didn't have a book back then, but that's what he was doing. He would vend. See? That's when Umar makes this shift from being a school psychologist and becoming this basically a touring preacher within the Black conscious space. And he's done that consistently since that time. Like I said, there is some evidence that he worked for a little while, for a couple of months in 2014. I've been able to verify that, but I'm going to give Umar the benefit of the doubt. But it's not that he was working consistently. It's just a job that he took for a very short period of time. And I don't believe it was as a school psychologist either. I think that's when he was working, because I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, as a principal or a vice principal. Some people even said as a counselor, like a school counselor. Anyway, that's when he made that decision. And what we find, and what the research shows, I should say, is that from 2011 to present, Umar has not worked professionally consistently at all. In fact, most of his time has been spent traveling the world in the Black conscious circles with his message. Initially, his message was more about the school to prison pipeline. It was about special education. It was about misdiagnoses and Ritalin, what he called crack, and all this kind of stuff. I have all these videos. I've been taking copious notes on this. This is early Umar, but over the years, it's evolved. We're in today. He don't really talk about that stuff. What he's really talking about these days is it's like celebrity gossip and snow bunny cries. Thanks, Kitwana, for the super chat. Brother O says, Lenon, who are 3 public leaders or activists you like or respect? Also, if you interviewed Umar, what would be 3 specific top questions you would ask him? Okay, so 3 public leaders or activists. Well, one, and I don't even know if we want to call, I wouldn't say a public, I would say an activist. One of the people would be Mukasa Africa. I communicate with him quite often these days, especially with everything's been going on with Umar. He's inspirational. He's very inspirational to me. Another person, I look at Information Man as an activist. I know he does YouTube videos, but if you guys listen to him carefully, I look at him as an activist. And I'm not just specifically talking about his critique of Umar. I'm just talking about in general, his general message. And he's someone that I respect. In terms of, let me think of a public leader though. I really can't think, because I'm at an age where I just don't look at it. I don't look at people that way. There was a time, I'll just have to say it. There was a time where I looked at, what's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Umar's called him out. He did a book long time ago. I read this book long time ago. Race Matters or something like that. What's his name? Dr. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Now all these other people are flooding into mind from my earlier days when I was a lot younger. Cornel West. I used to look at him as a public leader. But now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm not talking about these days because I'm just older. When you reach a certain age, you just don't look for leadership. In particular for me, I'm trying to lead my family the best way that I can. As you get older, that's just the evolution of things. And I am getting older. But there was a time where I looked at people like Dr. Valentine, Phil Valentine, people like this guy. Boy, I tell you my memory what it used to be. I can see Taj Tariq Bey, because that's when I was really studying within the Black conscious space. But those days are long gone. Those days are long gone. There was someone too. I just came to mind, Steve Coakley. Right. Again, these aren't people who are necessarily public leaders in modern times, if you want to call it that. But again, like I said, it's just where I'm at in my life. I don't look for public leaders, black, white, or otherwise. Thank you, Brother O, for super. And then the other thing, real quick, what would be the three top questions I would ask Umar? Number one, how much money have you raised? I would ask that question. Number two, how much money have you spent? I would ask that question. Yeah, I mean, there's so many other ones for number three. What would I choose? Can I give you two more? One would be, when was the last time you worked consistently? Okay. And then the other would be, when and where did you work as a school principal, and for how long? Now something else came into mind. Umar, you said that you're a family therapist. When and where? Umar, where's your office? When and where were you a therapist? Have you ever been licensed as a therapist? Have you ever been certified as a therapist? Do you hold any current certifications as a school psychologist or as a psychologist? When was the last time you had your own residence, Umar? Why did you get evicted at the end of 2019? Where did all the money go? Do you have a substance abuse issue? How can you sexually exploit all these black women all around the world and call yourself a black leader? Why do you always criticize black men and tell black men that they have to do things that you're unwilling to do yourself? Why would you tell black men that we should take care of single mothers when you a baby mama creator? You done created single mothers. So we got to clean up your mess? When you threatened me with physical violence and doxed my personal information, what were you thinking? Why are you still calling me gay, homeboy? When you the one that got these thumb issues, Thumbelina. Don't get me going. See there? See there? Once I get going. But specific top three, I would say those three. But it's hard. That third one is difficult because I come up with all kinds of. All right, thanks, Brother O, for super. Umar, why when you were scamming the UNIA back in 2005? All right. Thanks, Brother O. T says he's a textbook narcissist and sociopath. I totally agree. He exploited black trauma to become a prominent public figure and make money. Yeah, and there's a lot of people who've done that. Jay Morrison is another example. He exploited the trauma of Black Wall Street. Remember, he was saying how we're gonna buy back the block. He didn't do that. We're gonna rebuild Black Wall Street. He didn't do none of that. Well, Umar, he said he was gonna do a Black Wall Street too. He didn't do none of that either. That's why if you go on Umar's Instagram page, you'll see he be posting like old shit of trauma, black people trauma. Stuff that a lot of us weren't even born back there, but he'll post it anyway, like lynchings and stuff. I don't want to see that shit. Yeah, did it happen? Yeah, but you ain't got to put these graphics with that. That's just trapping into black people's trauma. Then you got to tie it to him and what he's doing because he's Big Papa and it's all about him. See? There has to be a word for an individual that exploits another individual or a group of people's trauma that way. There has to be a word for that. Okay? Again, yeah, narcissistic and the sociopathic, but there has to be a specific term for that because that's what Umar has done and he continues to do, but he's not the only one. Jay Morrison did it. Polite did it too. Even a Nature Boy who's in prison for life, he used to do that too. Okay? But Umar, he's especially crafty because he's gotten away with it for such a long time. Yeah, even the school to prison pipeline, and I think it's diabolical to manipulate black single mothers who's worried about their sons, getting into the prison industrial complex, and then Umar, he frames it like I'm going to save them from that. Matter of fact, this whole idea of opening a school is to save them from that. See, that's diabolical. There has to be a term for that. Thanks, T McLove. I just remember I got to go through Umar's dissertation. I don't know how I'm going to find the time. I'll figure it out. The Little Gaming Channel says it was always a sham. I agree. He never had any intention on opening a school. He knew the buildings were garbage and sat on a toxic dump. No credit for the attempt. He accepted no help from anyone. A one-man scam. And I also think, and I didn't mention this earlier, but you're right. The fact that he has not accepted any help, more specifically, any professional help, because if you do it, when you deal with professionals, it's going to be accountability. Also, the money has to be right too. And you can't be saying, I'm gonna pay you next Wednesday and all this kind of stuff, or I'll get you next month, or let me just put this on down for now if you can get the work done. You can't do that with true professionals. So the receipts show, and my research shows that Umar has a history of not accepting proper help, but he does that because he does not want to have transparency. See, if he accepted professional help, that actually gets him closer to completion. But Umar, he doesn't want to complete, because once he completes the renovations, he has to get to operations. And then now we're talking about millions of dollars per year that he's going to have to, it's not even financially viable. None of this is financially viable, right? So if he gets to that point and then he starts asking for money so that he can pay faculty and staff, so then people are like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And how much money you need for to operate the school per year? It's $4 million a year. I believe the Moyer Academy for both sides of the streets, I believe it was close to $4 million. Okay. So if we cut that in half, it'd be about $2 million, but then we have to adjust for inflation. I don't even know what that would be. A decade later? You guys see what I'm saying? You guys take 2015, let's say 2 million, adjust for inflation. How much would that be? And then all the stuff Umar said he's going to do, this is going to be a whole lot more money. Teach the boys how to fly helicopters and how to float ships and a dirt bike team and all this other. Teach them how to be black Rambos and take them on trips to Africa. But if he accepts proper professional help, it gets him closer to that point where he has to show and prove. That's not what Umar wants. He wants hangups. He wants distractions. He wants this situation to take place. I know it sounds weird, but see, now he has an out. He can say, oh, well, the city, they done taken the properties. That's why we didn't open up. And then he can keep asking for money indefinitely. We're going to see how this plays itself out, one day at a time. Thank you to Little Gaming Channel for a super chat. Andrea says, let's see, we're going to have a farm. He said he's going to have an FDMG farm. He said he's going to have an FDMG cemetery. Who's paying for it? That's macabre. Who's paying for all that? He said that you black women, that part of your job, you're going to help him to go to these grave sites of different people like Frederick Douglass and exhume the body so that you can take them back to FDMG and bury them there. What kind of thriller, Michael Jackson thriller? What are you talking about, Umar? Who comes up with that? That's called grave robbing. But even still, you gonna go? What are you talking about? Just black people that he thinks are important. He gonna just go and arbitrarily dig up their bodies, and then put them in the ground over here at FDMG at the FDMG. That's nuts. Anyway, he said black pigs as well. Yeah, black pigs, black pigs. That's what he said. Who's paying for all that? It's expensive to run a farm, Umar. Plus you're gonna have black pigs? It's expensive, especially in black pigs. They're expensive. Let me stop. You know them black pigs, you know what I'm saying? Now I sound like Umar. Them black people, them black pigs, they lazy, they trifling. All right, thanks, Andrew. Shout out to the black pig. Little Gaming Channel says, for you, sir, thank you for keeping your foot on his neck and exposing him. I have been here from I didn't know you were here from the beginning. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Very gracious on your part. There's been quite a few people. I didn't know how long they've been around, so thank you so much for sticking with me. So if you've been around from the beginning, you know that there's been a lot of ups and downs with this Umar Johnson saga. That's what I call it. I call it the Umar Johnson saga because it's always something. And for those of you guys who have been around a long time, you know that to be true. I've done my best to stay the course. There's times where I've taken breaks and then extended breaks too. I can tell you, there's one time I took an extended break, but I had to because I had so much other stuff going on in my personal life. I haven't talked about it because, in the past where I've shared personal stuff, people, they've twisted it and turned it into something totally different. And it's just I don't want to have to deal with that, So that's why I've been more private, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say. But what I want to get to is, I've tried my best to be consistent, and I think it's a huge, it's been a huge effort. But I also think that at least now, we see the results. The results. There are so many people right now who are exposing Umar, and they've seen some of my videos. They've seen some of KKC's videos, Pocket Watcher with JT, Eli with What Happened to Common Sense. information man. You know, there's plenty of people that they put their best foot forward to expose Umar for who he truly is. And I'm just grateful that I've been able to do this. You know, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for the super chat. You've been so gracious. I do appreciate it. But I did not know that you've been around from the beginning. There's probably a lot of y'all that's been around for a long time. If you've been around for like a really long time, hit the one, okay? Because there's a lot of newer people. That's why the numbers are where they're at. And I have a lot of new subscribers, but some of you guys have been around for a very long time. Thank you guys so much. Okay, everyone. All right. Thanks, our little gaming channel. Gina became a new member. All right, thank you so much, Gina. I appreciate it. People say things like, when Umar started this school scam, I was in high school. I went off to college, got a bachelor's, I got a master's, and I'm working on my PhD. And I have 3 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see how people could think that somehow Umar's serious. I mean, it's been such a long time. It's not just when Umar claims that he started raising money in 2014. I know for a fact that he was raising money long before that. It's just he wasn't doing it outwardly online, because he didn't really come into the internet space, consistently. Because if you guys go back and look at Umar's Facebook page, because that's what he was using way back then. You look at his Facebook page, 2010, not much activity going on. Okay? Not much activity at all. 2011, not much. Okay, then you start to see him in living colors. You see it kind of progresses and living colors too. It progresses and progresses. So what's on to where now he's a social media influencer. But we're talking over a decade in order for him to get to this point. But if we go back to when Umar first started talking about these abandoned buildings, or excuse me, FDMG, again, the post that I show is from January of 2010. He was talking about it prior to that, obviously. That's just when he posted on social media. He conceptualized this in 2004, so it's been over 20 years. So if we really think about this, what Umar has done by extending this scam for this length of time, there are most of the people who initially donated thinking that their sons or their daughters were going to go to Umar Johnson School. Most of those people, their children are grown adults now. Some of these children are in their late 20s, early 30s. So how can we say that Umar was ever serious about this? Let me give you one other thing. When I first learned of Umar pursuing the St. Paul's College, which he never even put in the bid, even though he said he did. Shout out to Black Anonymous, that's another one of OGs. If I think about where I was at back then, struggling big time. In retrospect, embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. But Umar's been at this scam for such a long time. From that time to present, I can see progressions. I can see me falling down again, getting back up, falling down again, getting back up. But just over the course of the last 6 years, I would say, maybe 7 years, that's a long, I made significant strides in my life. See? So that's how I look at this, that if Umar was serious, he would have had something happening by now, but he still doesn't have anything happening. Furthermore, it's all worse, in my opinion, because not only does he have nothing going on after all these years, 2 decades since he conceptualized this, millions of dollars raised, he's facing the potential of these abandoned buildings being taken from him and sold at auction at a sheriff's sale. And if that happens, all of the money that has been donated to Umar was wasted. So we have the issue of money, but we also have the issue of time. And time is money. Time is also life. Therefore, life is money through production. Just think about, any of you guys, think about where you were at in 2010. Think about where you were at in 2014 when he started raising money for the St. Paul's College. Think of where you were at in February of 2019 when he makes a school announcement video. He says, I'll require these abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. And think about all of the changes that have taken place in your life up to now. And Umar has nothing to show for it. Not one black boy has been educated. That's a shame. And you know what's even crazier? He don't even care. He has no shame. See, I know what shame feels like. I know what guilt feels like because I wasn't handling business. See? I'll take that to the grave. But I know one thing, I made changes over time. At least I can say that Umar, he done given me some time to make some changes. Okay? Thank you, Little Gaming Channel. Speaking of change, Umar needs to look at himself in the mirror. Look at the man in the mirror and make that change. Anyway, Thanks for the super chat. I think this is the last one. Thank you, guys. This has been a super chat show. Verdant Visionary, I like that name. Says a freedom of information request for any records regarding the city's attempts to contact FMG might reveal a lot. Yeah, there may be a public record for that though too. Those should be public. Yeah, okay, those should be public records. Yeah. I'm wondering though too, Verdant Visionary, as we close out. I'm gonna do my best to come back tomorrow during the day and live stream to get to these videos. Most of you guys probably gonna be at work, so y'all probably won't get, but that's okay. Because again, I will have a special guest. We're gonna go over Umar's dissertation. I'm wondering, Verdant Visionary, whether or not through the Freedom of Information request that paperwork can be filed so that Umar Johnson's nonprofit information, specifically dealing with how much money he has raised up to this date. And I'm not just talking about from 2020 to 2024, where we have actual IRS filing for his nonprofit status. I'm talking about from 2014 to 2020. If somehow that information can become public record through the Freedom of Information request, because these are nonprofits. I don't know whether or not that's the process. I'm just throwing that out there as something I thought about based upon what you're saying here. I will say this, that if Umar is ever brought up on charges, whether that be for the school scam or if it's with the IRS and his filings with the IRS for tax evasion, whether it is his first EIN number or his second EIN number or both, or if it is for fraud, dealing with tax fraud through this nonprofit. If that ever took place, if you're brought up on charges, everything would come out in discovery. And when that happens, everything that I've been saying about Umar, especially when it comes specifically, I should say it this way, specifically dealing with the financial aspect of this FMG school scam, all of it, everything I've said will be proven to be true. Again, I give Umar a lowball figure of $2.7 million raised since 2014. It could be much higher than that. Could it be $3 million? Yeah. I say 2.6, 2.7. Could it be 3 million? Yeah. Could it be 3.5? Yeah. 4 million? No, I don't think so. See that? See, but my best estimate, based upon my research, IRS filings from 2020 to 2020 through 2024, is that Umar has raised, and then going back to 2014 from the St. Paul's College, based upon video evidence where he's telling people, giving updates back then, I would say bare minimum $2.6, $2.7 million. Unfortunately, right now, that is not part of the public record, but hopefully someday it will be. Okay? Thanks for that, Visionary. Love the name too. Thanks for the super chat. Let's see. Alcione says, critics of your channel will comment on the length of your videos, but you spend the majority of each video in gratitude to your community and been blessed by that frequently. Umar cursed his and himself. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. You know, and I have made efforts to upload shorter videos and people can watch those. But I think some people, maybe they're not quite clicked in to the community. A lot of us, we're here because of the community aspect, and people be going in and talking inside the chat room and goofing off, and we enjoy that too. But I have been making efforts to upload videos, shorter videos, and it actually has made a difference with subscriberships and ad placements and all that stuff. I'll continue to do my best to accommodate people. It's just that when you deal with I'm
trying to get to the end. This been 2.5 hours. I think we're gonna cut it right here, man. God.
If Umar does not come up with this money, or let's say he comes up with the money, but he says, listen, he ain't gonna tell people, but he gets the money, but he doesn't put it on these buildings so he can save these buildings. Well, what Umar would do is just keep the money. If the buildings go up for sale, and they sell for a certain amount of price, and then the city takes the amount of money that they're owed. And I don't know whether or not the rest of the money goes back to Umar. Let's say that it does. If it goes back to Umar, well, he can walk away with $100,000, $200,000, maybe more than that. And there's a reset right there. The either way, we'll cover it. Okay. But ultimately, what is it going to do? Delay the inevitable. Okay. Thank you, Little Gaming Channel, again for the super chat. Thanks for all your super chat. I really do appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
All right, that's enough, man. They gonna super chat. I thought he was gonna do a video, but he never did get to a video. But we hit these people question and answer. You learn a lot. You learn a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean in 2 hours, just like 4 or 5. Like, good point. Very good point. So it's no doubt in my mind, man, that Dr. Umar really thinks that he is fooling people. I couldn't be on earth knowing I got so many haters that think that I'm scamming somebody. Dude, it don't take that one build. I gotta go see that building, man. When I get home, I'm gonna put in the GPS and see how long of a drive it is to get there. You know, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. I left my man Leonard super chat and trying to get in touch with him and all that good stuff. I didn't realize that he was gonna be on this live stream, and he probably don't realize how long he was on the live stream himself. So y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.